The Dover International Speedway, where the NASCAR Nationwide Series is set to run 200 laps on a cloudy Saturday, September afternoon. This racetrack a mile around with a very unique and very appropriate nickname all its own. It's the Monster Mile. Not just a phrase, it's the challenge for NASCAR Nationwide Series drivers today. Massive high bank corners, narrow canyons for straights. Trouble lurks at every corner, and there's nowhere to hide and escape the monster's wrath. Into that arena comes a star-filled field. Carl Edwards drove from worst to first at Richmond last race. Another win here would help his championship cause. Kyle Busch looked to have the Monster Mile mastered in May, but a late race letdown led to an unexpected Brad Keselowski victory celebration. Which one of 43 drivers will master the monster today as the NASCAR Nationwide Series goes green in Dover?
T-minus 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition.
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown as the NASCAR Nationwide Series winds down. Today's challenge, a tough one, 200 laps around the Monster Mile Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. There are very few venues in sports where the playing field itself has character that affects the competition, but this is one of them. While the statue and trophy are very cool, it's the action on this track that brings the fans back time after time to see the racing here. Now, story number one, we should tell you right off the top, there is weather in the area. Forecast for heavy rain tonight in the Dover area. That's the live radar now. The beginning of the weather is about 70 miles away. Me and my amateur meteorology person skills can't tell you how fast that's moving toward us. Remember, the rule is if more than half the scheduled distance has been completed and circumstances prevent the race from being continued, circumstances including rain, then the race could be considered official. That means lap 100 is a big one today. Now, we begin our Dover Countdown by picking up where the Nationwide Series last left off 2 weeks ago in Richmond, when that man, former series champion Carl Edwards, kept his championship hopes alive by driving from worst to first. Edwards is still nursing a broken right foot, but I'm guessing his foot's not the biggest discomfort he's feeling right now since he starts 39th tonight.
Can't say enough about Carl Edwards with that foot and starting dead last to getting all the way up to the front right there now.
Carl Edwards in that 60 car, he's been turning lap times faster than the leader, and he has been nothing but on the move.
Whoa, whoa, he's around. Oh, they got contact, and here goes Carl. Oh, what a sound.
Pit lane opened early. Leader Kevin Harvick came in. So did Carl Edwards. Who's going to win the race off pit road? And it looks like it's going to be Carl Edwards. The big question is now, how's he do the backflip?
Man, my guys did great. Dan Stillman and all these guys, they did it for me tonight. That pit stop's what got me in the victory lane.
Well, Carl Edwards is certainly on a hot streak, and what a place to continue that here at Dover. What is it about this racetrack that you like so much?
Well, there's a couple things. I mean, the biggest thing though is the speed. You know, it's got a high sensation of speed. There's a lot of G-forces, and and usually my guys bring me great race cars. So this race is going to be a lot of fun. That Scott's Wild Bird Food Fusion is fast. We've won when we've had the birds on the car. We've won every time. So it'd be nice to get another one today. And I think we've got a good enough car. It looks like there's a little weather coming, so strategy could be part of it. Dan Stillman and those guys have done a great job with that this year.
Yeah, you're starting on the front row next to Kyle Busch. What you've seen in practice and qualifying, who has the advantage?
It's tough to say. Qualifying, those guys were really fast, but I feel like our race setup's really good. We went almost the same speed in race trim as we ran in qualifying, and the track is changing right now. I mean, it's not as white as it usually is, or it's really taking on a lot of that Goodyear rubber, and I think this is going to be a pretty dynamic race.
Well, last race was at Richmond. He won from the last row. We'll see if he can win from the front row. He starts second. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. Carl Edwards is one of what has become the big three of the Nationwide Series this year. Kyle Busch is the championship leader ahead of Edwards by 201 points, while Brad Keselowski is just behind Carl in third. Keselowski is the most recent Nationwide Series winner at this track. Now, Kyle Busch was leading his Gibbs teammate Joey Logano and Keselowski for a restart with 2 laps to go at the end of May here. Unknown to all except Busch, his 18 car had a tire going flat. He wanted to try and make it last to the checkers, but he didn't go into turn 1 as fast as Logano expected. There was contact, and Keselowski in the 88 shot by them both and picked up the victory. Brad Keselowski starts 12th today with Dave Burns now.
And Ellen, I don't think it's probably lost on Brad that he also started 12th at the May race. You did know that, didn't you? And is that good luck?
I actually did. I'm in the same pit stall, too. Did you know that one?
No, very nice.
I have one up Dave Burns. How about that? That's a good start to the
That's easy.
That's a good start to the day, but feeling really good about it. Same car as well, and everything's going very well. Got a bad draw. I think we could have qualified up front, but got that early draw. That's no big deal. Don't usually start that well, and usually just run a nice, smooth, patient race and be there at the end.
This deep in the season, as well as your team has been running, do you think without the help at the end of the race like you had in May that you can beat him 1-1?
Well, I didn't think Kyle was going to be as good as he was there in qualifying. He didn't really show his hand in practice, but he is definitely the car to beat from what I see. I feel like we can run with him, but beating him is going to be hard. I feel like our two cars are probably the two best cars, and maybe Clint Boyer's too. It's going to be hard to tell, but I'm looking forward to it. This is a really good GoDaddy.com Chevrolet, and this team's done a great job for me all year.
Most everything's the same, Al, and he hopes it ends the same way, too, with a W.
All right, David, and I won't try and one-up you there. If this were a horse race at Dover Downs, our ESPN pit studio would be kind of in the way. Be a tough spot to be in, but it's a stock car race on Dover International Speedway's Monster Mile, so we're in a perfect spot overlooking Victory Lane, Pit Road, and all the action down this front straightaway. Welcome inside Alan Bestwick with three-time Dover winner Rusty Wallace and Big Brad Daugherty. You're going racing at the Monster Mile. What are you thinking?
Oh, right now I'm really nervous at this particular point. I don't want to screw up at all. Look, I got a lot of things that are different this particular race. Brand new tire. This racetrack's getting really black. I got rain coming. I got to be concerned about that exit of turn 2. Turn 4 as a driver. There's a lot of things running through my mind right now.
Let's just go back to the racetrack. The sensations around this place for the fan, for the driver, for everyone involved, it's unbelievable. Cars go off into turn 1, and it looks literally, when you're standing there, like they're dropping off a 3-story building and planning. This is a super fast, high-end racetrack, and it is a blast as a fan to sit back and watch these guys get it on.
Let's talk about the championship for just a second. Carl Edwards has a 201-point deficit to make up on Kyle Busch over these final races of the season. 1 year ago, Carl was 207 points behind Clint Boyer with 8 races to go, and the final margin ended up being 21 points. So what's Carl have to do to make a rally like that happen this year?
He is going to have to win races. Kyle Busch is not going to stay back and just have good, consistent finishes. He's going to be able to win races, so will Carl have to.
I tell you, those guys were definitely a second-half team last year. They just got to do what they did last year and maybe learn from some of the stuff they did last year. They got them so close within 20 points. Is it strategy? Is it 2 tires? Is it track position? Whatever he can do to chip away those points, because he got that close last year, almost got it.
So keep an eye on Carl Edwards and the Kyle Busch rivalry throughout this race and the rest of this season. Now, Denny Hamlin will be a story in today's race. He and the Gibbs 20 team have had an adventurous weekend. Hamlin sat out Friday's final practice to concentrate on his Cup car. So one of their young development drivers, Matt DiBenedetto, got into the machine and sadly had this happen to him. Not what he wanted. Put that 20 car into the wall. So Hamlin this morning had to go out and qualify in an unpracticed backup car, and it was an adventure too.
Maybe was kind of jumping around, but he did qualify good. Got a 4th place qualifying run out of a car with hardly any time in it whatsoever.
So all that's happened this weekend before Denny Hamlin takes the green flag on the Monster Mile, Vince.
Well, that's where skill and trust come in handy. His skill and also the trust he has in crew chief Dave Rogers in this nationwide team. What is your mindset going into this race, knowing you've had 2 kind of a handful laps here?
I tell you, just at this point, just want to finish a nationwide race. I think I've been in contention to win just about every one I've been in, and I think I've crashed and had mechanical failures every single one. So we need to get this Doosan Toyota in Victory Lane today. It's going to be a challenge. We didn't run happy hour, obviously. That probably hurt us, but the main object is try to win this Sprint Cup championship. So, we sacrifice a little bit over on the nationwide side to help the Cup side, but hopefully I got a lot of trust in my team and in the car to be good today.
2 of the last 3 times he's raced a nationwide car here at Dover, Allen, he's taken it to Victory Lane.
And again, Denny Hamlin starting 4th. No one would be surprised to see him win today. Talked about the race for the championship. There are some young guys competing with a series veteran for a prominent place in points as well. In a moment, we'll explain why 5th is now a dividing line in the final standings. And up next, New Jersey native Martin Truex Jr., a 2-time series champ, looking for a win before his home fans at a track that's been a boost to his career. That when NASCAR Countdown continues from the Monster Mile.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
24 miles from this Dover International Speedway, Mayada, over on the Jersey Shore. The hometown of two-time series champ Martin Truex Jr. back in a Nationwide Series car today at a place that has been so very instrumental in his racing career. He starts back in 24th, Shannon Spake.
Down here with Martin Truex Jr., a two-time winner at this racetrack, but you haven't raced here since 2007. How much has this racetrack changed?
The track really hasn't changed a lot. The tire's different, and the cars are a lot different than when I ran here with the tapered spacer. So, still trying to learn a little bit. We kind of struggled a little bit in practice yesterday. We had a decent car on the long runs and old tires, but it didn't really quite have the speed some of the other guys had. And we went out early this morning on the bias ply rubber, and seemed to affect us more than a lot of guys. So we'll just have to see. We got a ways to go. We got some cars to pass, but look forward to having some fun today and getting to the front by the end of it.
Qualified 24th. It's a 200-lap race, very short race. How much more challenging does that make your job today?
Well, if the car's good, it shouldn't be any problem passing cars, but we'll just have to see. We've come from the back here before and won, so I ain't worried about that. Just hoping the car's better than it was this morning.
Well, that's a cool, confident man right there for you. Martin Truex Jr. looking for his third win here, Allen.
And he will drive that #1 car today again from 24th starting spot. Now, a quick look to May 2008. Scott Speed, the Californian, then beginning to transition from Formula One racing to stock cars. Won a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race here. He starts in 5th position for this race, Jamie.
Well, Scott, we just showed a clip of you winning the truck race in your first outing here at Dover, and you finished 7th in your first nationwide outing. What is it about this place you can adapt so fast?
I don't know, but it's clearly something that works really well in a nationwide car and a truck, but not so well on the Cup side because nothing was struggled over there. But I don't know. I mean, it's same as Bristol. You know, I guess it's the high banking and the more grip seems to be a little bit easier for me to adapt to, I guess.
Well, you qualified 5th for today's race, and you are surrounded by your Cup competitors all around you. How do you feel like your car is going to compare to the Joe Gibbs cars, Carl Edwards?
Well, I don't know. Certainly 18's going to be really hard to beat here this weekend without a major fluke on his part. But I think we have a good car, as best a car as I've ever had going into a race. You know, I've been certainly the most confident I've been in a while in the 99. So we'll see. We have a good enough starting spot. We got a nice opening in the pits, so everything looks good at the moment. We'll see once the green flag starts.
One of the best cars he's had. He's confident. He's making his 10th start here, Alan.
Okay, Jamie, we showed you the top of the championship standings earlier. Here's a look at the entire top 10. And note the race for 5th particularly. Justin Allgaier leading Stephen Wallace by a mere 20 points. 5th place now a dividing line, and that only the top 5 in the series is going to get to speak on stage at the award ceremony at the end of the year. Stephen Wallace got the upper hand in qualifying, while Allgaier starts 26th. Dave, Stephen starts 7th.
And Alan, in his 8th start here, that is the best he's done so far. So what about, we've been watching some weather here. What about getting to the front early, Steve?
Well, we're already starting at the front. Our US Fidelis Chevrolet was pretty good there in practice. We started in 7th today. The car handled good in practice and qualified good. So I feel like we got a good car here for the race. Just got to keep our nose clean and hopefully stay up front all day because I think it's going to rain here. And from what NASCAR's saying, we just need to make it to the lap 101, they're going to call it. So we need to stay up front all day long here, just in case it rains. But most importantly, if it doesn't rain, still be in the front. So we got a good car and pretty tight points battle here. So hopefully we can beat Justin by about 5 or 6 spots and go into Kansas City 5th in points. That'd be cool.
Good weekend so far for the 66. Vince?
With the man who'll be driving the 11 car, the Ride Makers Toyota today, Mike Bliss, and first time with this team, but you've worked with crew chief Paul Wolf before. It's got to be a little bit more of a comfort zone for you. How does that work?
I think it works out well. I really respect Paul, and I think he knows what I like in a race car. So it kind of took off like old, you know, it was an old girlfriend or something. You know, you remember how we think and how we work together. So it's really worked out good.
He's run well on the concrete. Expect a good showing today. Starts 3rd today, Mike Bliss.
And again, trying to preserve his place in the top 10 in the Nationwide Series driver standings. Martin Truex Jr. He's only run 12 of these Nationwide Series races in 4 years since he won back-to-back series titles. Can he jump in and make it go?
Well, it's going to take a little bit of time to get him up to speed, I really think. I mean, he didn't qualify very well. 24th in this car. I really expected him to qualify better than that. But actually gets about 20 or 30 laps in this race. I think the old Martin Truex we always see in the Nationwide Series is going to keep that thing up front. I really think he'll learn real fast.
Yeah, I think familiarity breeds confidence, and this guy being a champion in this series will come back to his roots. I think once he gets going, gets the races around some of these guys, as we see Martin Truex here back in the day when he was a champion, I think he'll get confident and comfortable and be up front by the end of the day racing with the guys.
Look at that, nice little flag drop there. And really now, does it make a difference whether you finish 5th or 6th in points?
Yes, it does make a difference, a big difference. For me as a car owner, you heard Ray Everingham talk a couple weeks ago about the importance of making it in the chase, how much more important that real estate is on the side of the car. Well, let me tell you, there's a lot of people paying attention to that top 5 in the series standings when it's done in Homestead, Florida.
Yeah.
And me as an owner, buddy, I want to get in that top 5 real bad, so it's important.
Well, I talked to Steven and Justin, and they're not worried about that. They want to get after each other. Both of these guys really want to have that 5th position badly. I talked to Justin. He said he's had a really good year, but he's got his eye on Steven. He's making sure he's racing him hard. He says they seem to be around each other all the time. And Steven Wallace has had a breakthrough year. He's racing really smart. He's put himself in a good position. I asked him when he's going to get to victory lane. He said he doesn't know, but he's going to keep an eye on that young man right there as they race today.
It'd be fun to watch those two guys racing for that 5th spot in points. Now, part of what makes this Dover track the Monster Mile, are the huge transitions from the straightaways down into the corners. Literally, the car drops down into the banking instead of going up into it. That presents some problems the teams have to prepare for in advance. And for more on that, we go to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer. Tim?
Prior to coming to Dover, Delaware, we do a lot of work at the shop because this is the installed inspection height of a spring. But when the car is going through the corner, it actually looks like this. So what's happened to the tire? It's coming from this area all the way up into the fender well here. Critical area. When that tire touches the fender in this line right here, it actually jerks the steering wheel out of the driver's hand. Loses control briefly, goes up the racetrack. Cost you a lot of time, but there again, it's a critical area to where if you can make the wheel travel going through the corner without touching the fender, you're going to be in control all the way around the racetrack.
Can't imagine it'd be a fun thing to have the wheel taken out of your hands at this racetrack.
Not
that's
here,
for
baby.
sure. All right, our J-Ski news and notes. Sorry, Rusty. NASCAR has set the 2010 schedule for the debut of the Nationwide Series car of tomorrow. Daytona, Michigan, Richmond, and Charlotte. Brendan Gaughan has a new crew chief beginning here. Dale Ferguson replacing Brian Berry in that role at Rusty Wallace Racing. And Kelly Byers joining JR Motorsports to replace Brad Keselowski as one of the team's 2 cars, in one of the team's 2 cars next season. Mr. Byers here with his new team, observing and beginning that process of fitting into the operation so they can be fast right out of the box come Daytona in February. You see Kelly, and congratulations to him on picking up the new ride. Couple stories to follow up on here. Kelly was under contract to your race team.
Yes.
Now he's going to work for Dale Jr.'s race team.
Very excited for Kelly Byers. He's a tremendous young talent, and he's going to get an opportunity to get in a great race car, and he had progressed so far with our company. We just couldn't find any more sponsorship for Kelly. This is a great opportunity. He'll win in this series, and he will be in the Cup Series someday, I do believe.
And Rusty, you shuffled some crew chiefs around within your Nationwide Series team that you own this past week. Why?
I just didn't really want to, but I had to. We just couldn't seem to get the cars handling. The performance went to heck. Just couldn't get nothing rolling. Couldn't get the mojo going, I call it. And it seems like the whole situation got stale. I will tell you, Brian Berry's a good guy. I really like him a lot, but for some reason, we just lost that chemistry, and we had to make a change.
All right, so that's the background there. Now, somebody to watch for today. Ryan Newman in Kevin and Delana Harvick's 33 car. A lot of folks thought he might win the pole today. He qualified 6th. Newman won this race in 2006, so watch that 33 car today from the outside of row 3. It's the Monster Mile edition of NASCAR Countdown. I hear that Miles the Monster is actually the only character in racing taller than Brad.
That's pretty good.
Racetrack's almost as scary as that. We're coming back for the opening ceremony. The start entrance from Dover.
Oh, you're right.
Reminder that tomorrow the chase for the Sprint Cup continues at the Monster Mile. Let's see, on the front row, we've got Jimmy Johnson and Juan Pablo Montoya, chasers in the top 4 spots on the grid. Got a couple guys farther back in the pack, like Carl Edwards, got to come from 30th spot. And he's got like 5 top 3 finishes in his last 6 Dover races. Going to be fun. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Burger King, 1 Eastern tomorrow on ABC. We are at the Monster Mile for the NASCAR Nationwide Series today. 200 laps getting set to unfold. And let's talk about what a driver sees, feels, and thinks as he buzzes around this place.
Yeah, absolutely. This place will eat you up and spit you out. Let's take a lap around this racetrack. We're coming down the front straightaway right now, getting ready to enter turn 1. You want to keep the car right on the bottom of the racetrack, but up ahead, this is where the trouble spot always happens at Dover. The exit of turn 2. Take a look at this. You come off at 2, bam, you get spun out. And guys and gals, we will see this all day long, because when you hit the outside wall, you come down, you hit that inside wall. That seems to be Calamity Corner right here. Here we are down the back straightaway, getting to turn 3 again. Right on the bottom of the racetrack, keeping it tight. And again, as you come off the top of turn 4, another problem spot. Seems like it always happens. See a 10 car get loose, spins out, crashes. Always happens off of turn 4 and turn 2 here at the Dover Mile. That's something we'll take a look at all day long.
Climbing up out of the corner again.
Yeah, up out of the corner on the straightaway, Brad, fast track.
Then you finally made it back, and you get to do it all over again.
Yeah, no rest for the weary. No one's done it better at Dover in the Nationwide Series recently than Kyle Busch. He's led more than half the laps in the last 3 races, 333 of 607, and he's finished no worse than 3rd. Pretty safe bet he'll be a factor today, especially since he starts on the pole, Shannon Spade.
Alan, this is the 3rd time this season that Kyle Busch has driven his car to the pole. The other 2 times, he went on to win the race. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Kyle, how confident are you that this is the car that can get to victory lane tonight?
Well, I'm always confident that we've got cars capable of getting to victory lane, just up to circumstances going in the right direction to get us there. So we'll see what the NOS Energy Drink Camry has in store for us today. I think the car's pretty good. I know the pit crew is good, so, you know, I guess regardless of a flat right front tire like we had here in the spring, we'll see how it goes.
Speaking about tires, you spoke a lot about tires in qualifying today. This is a new tire we have here this weekend, but you've run it in both the Cup and the Nationwide. How much has that extra time helped you this weekend?
It's helped a little bit, you know, but just getting the cars right is the biggest thing. If you can work on the cars and get enough going on, you know, you try some stuff over there, you try some stuff over there, and you try to correlate some of the two together and see what you can figure out. But sometimes they don't always go together, but we did the best we could this weekend. I feel like the Nationwide car is pretty good. Cup car's not bad, but, you know, we'll see if we can't try to win one today.
Good luck to you tonight. Kyle Busch, he's your pole sitter. Alan?
All right, couple other guys to watch for today. Matt Kenseth, former winner here. He will be tough driving the 16 car. And Clint Boyer, defending series champion, was wicked fast in practice. The opening ceremony at the Monster Miles next. And we welcome you to racing's version of a big house, the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway in Delaware's capital city, where the NASCAR Nationwide Series is going to go racing for 200 miles today, 8 races to go in the season. How will the results of this race at a very tough track play into the championship? Also a threat of rain in the forecast. We'll see if that affects the ability to run this race to its full scheduled distance
Race fans,
today.
please rise
More on
and
that
remove your
in a
hats.
moment.
Today's colors being presented by the Dover Air Force Base Honor Guard. And for today's invocation, I present to you Chaplain Major Barry Ball of Dover Air Force Base.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we praise and give you thanks for our brothers and our sisters, sons, daughters, and neighbors who are serving in our military around the world today, keeping us safe and secure as we ask your blessing on them that they come home safely and soon. And as we gather here today, we ask your blessing on these drivers and crew members for courage, safety, and speed. And bless us here to enjoy a rip-roaring good time. Amen.
And remain standing for our national anthem, today being presented by Miss Delaware Heather Lehman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Dover Air Force Base, just a few miles up the road from this racetrack, a big military presence in this town, and the flyover from the local air base, great to see. So the engines fire and the green flag waves at the Monster Mile next. The race continues on ESPN2. The Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway, Dover, Delaware, getting set to host the NASCAR Nationwide Series. It is 200 laps around this very demanding racetrack, one of the toughest of the season on the drivers. They've got to race the Speedway, they've got to race the other competition, and today they may be racing the rain as well. Again, a refresher on NASCAR rules. If circumstances, including weather, prevent the race from being continued after it passes its halfway mark, NASCAR can call the race official, makes lap 100 a very critical number in this event. Before they fire them up, time to send it upstairs to the men who'll call the action today and maybe play amateur meteorologist as well. Marty Reed with Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie. How's your radar reading skills, Marty?
Believe it or not, I actually did the weather many, many moons ago in Columbus, Ohio. I was terrible. They put me on sports instead. Hey, Alan, can't let you escape. It was Alan's birthday on Thursday, so we want to wish you a happy birthday. You want to tell everybody how old you are?
Older than I should admit to.
Hey, I got him speechless.
Old enough to know better?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
There's one other birthday we want to talk about. Do you realize that 100 years ago today, Big Bill France was born? What do you think he'd be thinking about right now?
Well, I think he'd be very proud of the sport that he built here, this facility. My gosh, how much has changed over the years. And I think he'd be also very proud of the race we're about to see, because I think this is going to be one the best of the year.
All right, let's talk about this race. We showed you the radar. As a crew chief, this changes your strategy, doesn't it?
Man, I hate rain. It's so hard to predict when it's going to get here. The thing that it will do is it'll turn the intensity level up on the beginning part of the race. You don't want to fall back and try to be playing catch-up if you think it's going to end early. The fact is, though, it's not going to end exactly halfway. It's got to go at least halfway, and then after that, we don't know. I mean, if it rains before the halfway mark, we know we're going to finish it at some point. But when you go to halfway from there, you got to start thinking it could end at any time.
Yeah, and as a driver, you just have to go hard. You can see the clouds around here. They've made you aware that rain is on its way. So you're going to have to probably go a little harder at the beginning of this, and especially as you approach that 100-lap mark, than what maybe you would if you knew it was going to go the entire distance. So just drive hard, get the most that you can.
Well, and if you missed qualifying with us earlier today, some of the guys that we thought were going to be near the front of this field had the early qualifying times, and they did not do as well, like Clint Boyer. He's going to start 16th, but he was fastest in the first two practices.
And he'll be fast in the race. It was just one of those sessions that it had some rubber on the racetrack from a race yesterday. It was a Camping World East race with a different rubber compound, and the cars didn't burn it off right away. So the early cars just didn't have a good grippy racetrack. But the thing about it now is the racetrack will be exactly the same for everybody.
Yeah, I think mostly what it's going to allow us to see an exciting race as some of these guys try to work their way to the front.
All right, so that gets us to this point where we can finally send it trackside to get this show on the road here as we're getting ready to do 200 laps on this 1-mile behemoth of a racetrack. Let's go trackside for the command to start engines.
And now for those most famous words in motorsports, I present to you the Director of Sales for Pepsi Bottling Ventures of Delmarva, Mr. Fred Toll.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Little buddy riding in there. Yeah. We'll get left charm, I guess. Say, Steve Wallace is allergic to him, so maybe he'll stay away. All right. Yeah, copy that. You can fire it up when you're ready. What do you got in there? I missed it.
You heard the reference to Stephen Wallace? I think that was Justin Allgaier's crew talking about something he might be allergic to stay away from. I don't know. We'll check on that. That was a little bit of humor. Let's check in with pit lane one more time. Dave Burns, what's up?
Well, guys, the 60 car of Carl Edwards. Think of what he's gone through in the last few races. Broke his foot, finished 7th that first weekend trying to put it all together, won the next race out. Now, his crew chief, Dan Stillman, calls this track, because of its speed and its banking, the most physically demanding track that a driver will ever encounter on the circuit. But you know what? Week to week, that foot starts to heal. Carl gets better. I believe he'll be okay today at Dover. Jamie?
Well, Dave, we've talked about the fact that Denny Hamlin is in a backup car. He only had 2 laps today, and that was in qualifying. Well, we all know that 2 laps in qualifying doesn't give you an accurate assessment of how the car is going to handle. So the team is betting on one thing. This is a race-winning car. Joey Logano drove it to the win at the second Nashville race. And keep in mind, when you're watching the 20 car today, Joe Gibbs Racing has won 3 of the last 4 races at this racetrack. So they're counting on good notes, a great driver, and a proven race car to get back to victory lane. Shannon?
Clint Boyer found out on Monday that he would pilot the number 29 car here at Dover this weekend. According to the team, because they've had so many drivers behind the wheel of that car this season, they've fallen a little bit behind. So Boyer will be in that car for the next 3 races while they try to play catch-up. Despite their 16th place qualifying effort, the team has been very happy with the car this weekend, finishing in the top 5 in both practice sessions. If they can overcome their track position early, they feel like they've got a great shot at a solid run today. Vince?
Sprint Cup driver Martin Truex Jr. will be in the 1 car here this afternoon, and when asked why he would come back and run the Nationwide Series, the former 2-time series champ said, "Hey, this is fun." Well, he told me just a moment ago, it's not going to be so fun for some of these guys that aren't quite veterans here at Dover, because this track can be very, very tough on you if you're not ready. Truex's car hasn't been all that great this weekend. That's where he hopes his veteran driving ability pays off for him today. He's won here twice before. Dale Jarrett now is going to talk to our in-race reporter, Martin Truex Jr.
Hey, Martin, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
Hey, Martin, our first question comes from our mailbag, and Philip in Tucson, Arizona asked, how special would it be for you to win the Nationwide race tonight on your home track after your brother Ryan won the Camping World East Championship there yesterday?
That'd be real special. You know, I think every time we come here to this racetrack, it's a special day for me. You know, being from just up the road, and all the friends and family come out and watch us here. So we've had a lot of big days here. Yesterday was one of them. Hopefully today will be another.
Hey, Martin, my question to you is, we've heard a lot of talk about this new tire that Goodyear brought. What are the positives and negatives you've been able to see as a driver with this tire?
I think the positive is the track getting real black like it used to get. When I've had all my success here, it's been when the track got real black and slick. So I'm banking on that helping me today, but we'll just have to see. The tire's been holding up real well and holds on real long, which is good. So we'll just have to see where it goes here on a really long run.
All right, Mark, thanks for talking with us. Have a great race. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Mark Reno.
Hey, Mark, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Andy, I got you.
Hey, Mark, we're going to touch again on that tire that Goodyear brought here. It's a little different as far as the setup goes. I saw you guys struggling or scrambling, let's say, in the garage yesterday in practice. How hard was it to get a good balance on the car?
You know, we thought we had a fairly decent car and race setup, and we struggled qualifying a little bit here. You know, I think like Martin said there, the tire definitely is rubbering up the track better, which should make for a better race for everybody. I think the tires are going to last well. A guy might do a 2-tire stopper or skip tires once and maybe move to the front. And we're going to see what we can do to get Martin a good run in here today.
How about the weather, Mark? Do you think it's going to change your strategy here early?
You know, unfortunately so. It does look like the weather's coming in. We were hoping that that we could have got the race in. Don't know that it's not going to happen, but we're definitely going to watch the weather report all the way through here.
Okay, Mark. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck today.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
And our over-the-wall reporter today from Orlando, Florida will be Richard Puddin-Coleman. There he is. He's the rear tire carrier on the 38 of Jason Leffler. Several other onboards to show you. Got views all over the racetrack as far as onboard cameras are concerned as they continue the pace laps. There you can see all 8 of them with our in-race reporter in the upper left, Justin Allgaier, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Ken Butler, Ryan Newman, Brendan Gaughan, and Brad Keselowski. And as we get ready now, we'll show you the starting grid across the top of the screen for Kyle Busch, his second Dover pole, both in the last 2 fall races. And it is his 3rd of the year and 18th of his career. And we already pointed out about Clint Boyer coming back from the 16th starting position. We should point out there will be 4 cars going to the rear. The 62 had an engine change for Brendan Gaughan. Michael Annett crashed, of course, in qualifying. And the 96 and 47 unapproved adjustments. Let's get an update on the 18 is right before we go green. Jamie?
Well, Marty, they are not hearing Kyle Busch on the radio. You could tell he's cueing that key, pushes it in, but they can't hear his voice. So everybody's looking right now to try to figure out what the problem is so they do know that Kyle can hear them.
Well, if you're a driver on this track, what do you think?
It's not a good situation. You want to be able to talk to your crew to let them know about your race car, and you also definitely need to be hearing what they have to say and what your spotter has to say.
Kyle, was that you trying to talk? Yeah, we can't understand you there. No, we probably need to go through our checklist for hand signals there.
Well, the key thing right there is that obviously Kyle can hear the crew, and that is very key, because if you can't hear your crew or your spotter, it's kind of an unsafe situation. So it looks like that part's okay, but it is going to be frustrating when Kyle can't tell the crew what he needs to tell them as far as making adjustments on the car.
What you heard him say, we got to get our hand signals.
Yeah, and that's something that you work with the team in figuring that out. You might not go over it every weekend, but it is something the driver is aware of. And if his race car is as fast as it was in qualifying in practice, he's not going to have to worry about telling them to change anything. Just put tires on and let's go again.
You saw him right behind his helmet there, reaching for the plug to check and see, make sure it was pushed all the way in. There it is, right there.
Yeah,
blue
a lot of
cable.
times. Yeah, a lot of times you see right there in that plug area, if it's not plugged in completely, it'll act funny like that. So he was just checking it to see if that would fix it.
Well, radio or not, it's time for this race to get started as the pace car has the lights out and pulls down out of turn number 4. It will be Kyle Busch with Carl Edwards side by side, 1 and 2 in the points, as we get ready for the 28th of 35 races in the NASCAR Nationwide Series here at Dover International Speedway. They slow them down, and now this race is green. The radio may not work, but Kyle is shot out of a cannon, just like he did in qualifying, and he's trying to pull away early.
I think we heard Kyle say after qualifying they'd worked hard to get their car tightened up. And we'll see that will be a huge advantage if they didn't get it too tight on the longer run.
Denny Hamlin there in the 3rd spot.
Mike Bliss in the 11 on the low side. He's got a lot of action around him. Ryan Newman also there in the 33. On board with Newman. Scott Speed right in front. And there's Bliss, and he's going to go underneath him. So Bliss, who started 3rd, going the wrong direction early.
Yeah, probably a little bit loose. I think that I'd heard that his car was going to be loose on the bottom. He's going to have a little bit tough time in traffic, but I think Ryan Newman's on the move to the front.
I saw Ryan Newman, or actually Truex right here, get bottled up a while ago behind Morgan Shepherd, almost crashed getting into 3. Gets it sorted out.
Running 17th right now as we go on board with Justin Allgaier in 19th. They're both trying to get under Andrews. There's Matt Kenseth, David Rudiman in the 32, and Clint Boyer in the 29. Now that is all for 9th position. Boyer has already moved up from 16th. We told you he had a fast car in practice, and here he goes underneath Kenseth, and Leffler's going to follow.
Yeah, this 29 car was extremely fast in practice, right on the bottom of the racetrack, but just digging the whole time. It's like this car, everybody else was slowing down 6 or 7 tenths during their runs. He was slowing down about 3 tenths.
Well, we've got Andy Ponstein has turned off and headed for the garage. The 47 also of Coleman Presley, and Kevin Hamlin is off as well, and Mark Green. So 4 have already taken a back seat. Let's make it number 5 as Chase Miller is also heading south. That is our race leader, Kyle Busch. Look at this already. I mean, he threw down the gauntlet in qualifying, and no one has figured it out quite yet how they did it, because they weren't this good in practice. But here he is with almost a full second lead after only 6 laps.
I think sometimes they don't show their hand in practice, because I see this a lot. There'll just be another car. You watch the practice session, and he doesn't really stand out. But, boy, when the green flag falls, here he goes.
Dennis Setzer has taken his car behind the wall, and we can tell you that Chapman is 2 laps down, not officially out of this race. The margin stays this time at about 0.8 of a second. the 20 car of Denny Hamlin. Remember, he only had the 2 qualifying laps in this backup car, but so far he's in third, 2.3 seconds behind his teammate.
Yeah, he used up all the racetrack coming out of turn 2 that time, though.
I was pretty impressed, really, though, how the crew has done and as far as preparing this car and getting the setup they need, because he's very competitive.
How about third in the points? How about Brad Keselowski? He is 14th right now, chasing down Eric Darnell for 13th. And right behind is the 10 of Mr. Sorensen. And of course, Sorensen, he is trying to fight for a job. Reed's, out of work at the end of this year, so he's trying to impress a lot of people.
Well, he realizes what he has to do. He has to audition here in each and every race that he gets an opportunity. This is a good race car, even though it's their backup. They blew a tire yesterday in the first practice session, but he's still doing a good job.
Well, Keselowski and Sorensen have both cleared Eric Darnell, so move him back to 15th. But Kyle Busch has set sail here early at Dover. At Dover, after 15 of 200 laps, Kyle Busch is your race leader by 1.2 seconds over Carl Edwards. But we can tell you also that Casey Atwood has taken his car behind the wall, as we now have 8 cars off the track. And the man who is really on the move is Clint Boyer. He is up to 7th, and he is clicking off laps faster than the race leader right now, guys.
Yeah, we're only 16 laps into this. You can see Boyer, he's really handling this traffic really well, as is Kyle Busch. Shannon?
If you guys are surprised how fast this car is, the team is also surprised. They said it rolled off the truck just this fast. In fact, the only changes that they've made are some camber shims. That's it all weekend long. And like you said, they did have a little bit of problems in qualifying. Blamed some of the rubber that was laid down on the track from the E Series. But right now, Clint Boyer, the man on the move.
So it's called the Dover 200, but it's going to be a race to lap 101, it looks like right now, with the rain threatening. And take a look at this matchup. You've got the 20 of Denny Hamlin under attack from Scott Speed, and here comes Mike Bliss as his car starting to come back.
Man, Scott Speed's car looks really good there, just blasting by Hamlin.
That is for third. Speed now has it. Bliss 4th. Denny Hamlin is bumped back to 5th.
I think Hamlin's just going to take it easy here a little bit. They get the opportunity to work on that car. Again, they had 2 laps of qualifying is all they had on this race car before they started this race.
And Ryan Newman is closing on Hamlin. There he is, right behind him in the 33.
Yeah, and then here comes Clint Boyer. Looks like Newman might even lose that spot, because Boyer's on the move.
Boy, he has had a race car. There are weekends when somebody just jumps out at you during practice, and all of us noticed it on the 29, and then qualifying sort of surprised us, but we found out and figured out why with the fact that all the early cars had to deal with the Camping World East bias ply tire rubber, and that ended up putting him back 16th. But boy, right now this car is setting sail for the front. Boyer's now up to 6. Goes side by side a little further back in the field, or actually forward in the field, as you saw the 11 of Bliss getting around the slower traffic of McDowell. And here comes the 33. And look at Boyer, how he is just pulling up on Newman.
Yeah, he's really able to get this car down into the corner and keep it right on the bottom of the racetrack. And as these other cars start to struggle, that'll be a place that'll be wide open for him.
On board with Newman, looking out the back and get an idea just how good Boyer is as he comes right up on him. Excuse me, pardon me, I went through.
See, he pulls just out of the rearview mirror view of Newman, and Newman gives him the spot.
He has got him. So move Clint Boyer up from 16th to 5th now after 22 laps. While all this is going on, you haven't missed anything up front. Kyle Busch now leads by 2.2 seconds over Carl Edwards. Scott Speed is running 3rd. Mike Bliss is 4th, and Clint Boyer is 5th. Now, here's the one thing, though. He's into lap traffic, and Busch has his hands full with 2 slower cars in front of him.
Yeah, but he's been able to negotiate this traffic as good as anybody. You can see him go to the high side here now. He hadn't been passing a lot of them on the lower side, but he gets a good run off of turn 2, go around Scott Wimmer. But he is lapping them as fast as he can catch them. He's just not wasting any time with anybody, and he's really put quite a bit of distance on Carl Edwards here. So he's really able to move this car around wherever he wants to. Jamie?
Well, the bad news is Kyle still cannot talk to the team. They cannot hear him. Good news is he can hear his team and his spotter, Jeff Dickerson. Now, a NASCAR official just came over a few moments ago to
for the update. Take you back and show you. Here's keep an eye. There he is waving.
I guess they just wouldn't take his word for it.
Well, and it's a safety issue. If he can't hear his spotter, that's an unsafe issue out here on the racetrack. They don't allow anybody to be racing without a spotter, so they wanted to make sure that Kyle could hear what they were saying. And it's more about the spotter more than the crew actually hearing him.
Well, with Kyle passing Wimmer and Butler, that means we only have 24 cars on the lead lap after 26 laps. That gives you an idea just how strong this car is.
Here in Dover, Delaware, Jimmy Johnson, Juan Pablo Montoya on the front row for that one. Championship leader Mark Martin starting 14th rather in the 5 car. Remember, he started 14th at New Hampshire last Sunday.
Yes, sir.
And won. Our coverage presented by Burger King on ABC. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Dover tomorrow at 1 Eastern Time. Today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race caution-free so far. Kyle Busch has led every lap after starting on the pole. You heard the update just a moment ago about his communication. He can hear the team, but the team can't hear him. He's got right now a 3.4-second lead on Carl Edwards, and we keep an eye on the radar as well. Rusty, you're a pilot. What's that say to you?
That means rain is coming. And I can tell you one thing, it's definitely on these drivers' minds right now. They are thinking about lap 101, which makes it a halfway race. A lot of guys are also concerned about this racetrack. This is the first time they practice on this racetrack with this much rubber on it. The Cup cars have been on here a lot. As you see Kyle Busch getting ready to pass Brendan Gaughan right now, but the track is definitely changing. Drivers are thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. As you look at the lineup here, up front, we have a lot of really good race cars. Kyle Busch is obviously taking off, left everyone, but you got Speed, Boyer, Bliss, Rudeman, Newman, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, and Jason Leffler all in the top 10. There's some really good race cars. If they can just get a break and get caught up to Kyle Busch, we may have a race.
They need a caution to do that. You never know when one will come out here at Dover. A couple other things to keep in mind. First of all, lap 100 is the key number. The rule reads when the leader completes half the advertised distance. So it's not 100 plus 1. It's 100 laps, and it's an official race. So that's the number. That anything beyond that, as Andy Petrie said before, it's a wild card, right, Andy?
That's right, Alan. They're not going to stop the race at lap 100 or 101, and that's the hard part for the crews. They have to assume that they're going to keep racing, and they have to plan their strategy accordingly.
You saw Kyle Busch go around the 0-2. We should tell you, Andy Ponstein just came back out onto the track. We do have Joe Nemechek, who celebrates his 46th birthday today. He has taken his car behind the wall, so we still have a net total of 8 cars off the racetrack right now. Carl Edwards gets around Eric McClure easily. Let's get an update from Dave Burns.
And Marty, it has to do with pit road speed, and we've seen guys get busted for speeding on pit road. Most of the fans know they don't have a speedometer. They rely on their tachometer. They have an idea of what tach reading they're looking for, and then during the pace laps, they check it again against the pace car who is running at pit road speed. Sometimes it's off. Listen to Carl during the pace laps.
38.38 first gear. Man, we're off on that one. Now we're supposed to be calculated was supposed to be 43.77 first gear. So for some reason we're way off today. For what is the pit road speed in miles per hour? 35, 10-4, so 41 or so should be 3 miles an hour, huh? Yeah, 10-4, let's go 41.
All right, I don't know if all that math is correct. Guys, what do you think after all that? Are they going to be pushing it on pit road, or is that pretty good math?
I hate it when that happens because you don't really know if the tach reading's right, which one, whether he didn't get a good, accurate speed before he checked that. I mean, this could end up causing him a little problem, either one way or the other, either too slow on pit road or even worse, getting busted. But another gauge he needs to look at right now will be his water temperature gauge. I see a little bit of paper on the grill of that 60 car. I don't know how much that's affecting his water temp, but he needs to take a look at it.
Well, one of his other biggest problems is the fact Kyle Busch is now 3.7 seconds ahead of him, and coming up behind him, although it is about a 2-second gap back to third, is that man right there, Scott Speed, as the former Truck Series winner here at Dover finds himself now under attack from the ever-present Clint Boyer.
Yeah, Boyer made a really nice run early. It's kind of fizzled a little bit, but he's still going forward. was blasting by him earlier.
Yeah, where he was beating him about 3/10, it's down to about a 10th right now. These guys that he's catching. Now, Kyle Busch obviously is still about the same lap time when he's not in traffic.
We were talking before the start of the race about the 99, as Scott Speed has done very well in the Nationwide Series with 5 top 10s in 9 races. His best of 7th back here in May, and in fact even started with a pole back in Las Vegas and hasn't been able to translate it over to the Cup side, but he's having a ball right now.
Yeah, he's with a really good race team here with Michael Waltrip Racing. They do a good job. Jerry Baxter, an excellent leader of this, and I think has probably been a big help to Scott Speed in learning these cars and the racetracks.
From high above, you get the gap between 3rd and 4th place. Right ahead of them is Morgan Shepherd, one of the 4 men who have won this race in the 52 runnings from the pole. In fact, all 4 of them are here in the field, as Kyle Busch is the most recent of those, as well as Ryan Newman. And now you got Kyle in more traffic, as he has got Justin Allgaier right in front of him. Allgaier on the verge of going a lap down. He's in the 18th spot.
That just tells you how fast Kyle Busch is right now. He is picking them up and putting them down, putting a lot of guys a lap down.
Man, he's making it look way, way too easy. You know, this is the 26th of 28 races that Kyle has now led. He didn't lead at Las Vegas or at Montreal. But right now, he is marching to a beat that no one can keep. Stay with us. We're coming back to Dover. Back here at Dover, you can see Kyle Busch, a 2.5-second lead over 2nd place Carl Edwards, and he just puts Eric Darnell a lap down. That means only 15 cars on the lead lap. He has led all 53 laps so far, closing in on a record we'll talk about in just a few moments. Let's show you what happened to the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. He is back out on the track, but he had an unscheduled pit stop, Andy, because of some issues.
Yeah, they changed right side tires on that green flag stop they just made, and you can see here he's racing very hard underneath the 96 car of Michael McDowell.
So after that, he comes into the pit. You can see the wear on the right front. They changed the 2 on the right side.
Yeah, they knew it was right side damage, so they were safe to not change 4 here, just getting back out there. Everyone's going to have to make a pit stop regardless of the weather. They're not going to be able to go past the halfway mark without making a pit stop. This thing goes green a while, which looks like it might. He may end up getting some of this track position back.
So you can see how far back that has cost Brendan, as we get ready to go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance, as Kyle Busch is closing in on a mark. His next lap around, Jamie Little.
He really is on lap 57. Kyle Busch will become the 2nd driver in Nationwide Series history to hit the 2,000 laps led mark. The only other driver to do it, the amazing Sam Hart. He did it back in 1984. Kyle Busch wasn't even born yet. That year he led 2,127 laps. Kyle Busch is on mark to break that record. Dave?
And behind him, the 60 of Carl Edwards running in 2nd. That is a long way back right now. He doesn't know what he can do to try to get that car better, except maybe a little track bar right now. They called tossing the rear end around is a condition that Carl reported, and that's something that they're going to try to fix on their first stop. Now behind him, Scott Speed, we mentioned he's won here before in the Truck Series. Crew Chief Jerry Baxter does get a big kick out of Scott, loves the way this guy's driving, and right now has just been feeding him lap times. Scott Speed has told him absolutely nothing about the race car, and I guess that's okay, considering he's running 3rd. Shannon?
Clint Boyer started this race 16th and wasted no time moving up into the top 10. Currently running 4th on the racetrack. The team told me that, yes, the car is fast, but the best thing about this car is that it's been consistent all weekend long, meaning lap times do not fall off. Clint Boyer is a 5.8 average on concrete. Right now, that car is just a little bit tight. Dave?
And as you pan back, you'll find Mike Bliss, who has been moving back up after he got a handle on this race car. Didn't say anything to his crew on those first laps, and we were speculating it was just a little bit loose. He was just feeling out the race car. It did become loose in and a little bit tied off, according to the driver, but in his first run for CJM Racing, Mike Bliss doing a really good job. David Rudiman has run in this 32 car before. Right now for David, just a little bit loose on throttle. This is yet another time in this car for David this season. The 32 car being run the next few races by Brian Vickers, but Rudiman spent as little time in in this car as possible close to his Cup car because he knows that the difference is very big, and it paid off. Qualified 5th in Cup, and is running very well in this race. Shannon?
It's Ryan Newman that's behind the wheel, the number 33 car here this weekend. The car is a little bit tight off the turns, but this 33 has been so consistent all weekend long. This very car was raced by Kevin Harvick 3 times this season, including the most recent Bristol race, where he led 91 laps and finished 4th, and it's looking like it's going to be a great run for Ryan Newman here today. Jamie.
And Brad Keselowski was down in Daytona testing with the Penske guys and his new Cup ride for next year, but right now he's in that same car he's won 3 of his 5 career races with. The car is good, says he has a bit of a 4-wheel slide on exit. Behind him, Denny Hamlin. The only laps turned before this race were in qualifying. Now he says the car just gets loose in throttle, but he's hanging there in top 10 since the start. He rolled off 4th. Vince?
And running in 10th place is the 38 car of Jason Leffler. And there may not be a team out here that needs a good run more than this team. They had been mired in maybe their worst stretch of the season. 3 straight finishes of 20th or worse. This team needed last week off, so they welcomed the bye week, if you will. Last week, a chance to clear their head and get refocused, but a much better weekend so far. Jason Leffler says this car is very raceable. Shannon.
Matt Kenseth will take the next 2 weeks off from this 16 car, but then will come back for the rest of the season. He's tight center off, but that's not the only problem he's having. His radio is actually sticking, so the teams over the radio are hearing a lot of traffic out on the racetrack. But Matt Kenseth currently having a pretty strong run in this number 16 car. Jamie.
And Reed Sorensen making his debut with Ron Gracie's 10 car. He's actually in negotiations right now to run the majority of the races in the 32 car for this team next year. Now remember, they had a practice crash in first practice yesterday. He's in a backup, but he says right now it's pretty good, just a little bit tight as he runs 12th. Dave?
This is the one and only driver, the 66 car, Steve Wallace. Loose in, tight in the center, and tight off the corner has been the report for Steve. You see he's running that mid to high line there and has been doing that for the last few laps. His best finish here is 11th, trying to move up a couple spots and improve on that before the day's out. Vince?
And the 14 is the 1 car of Martin Truex Jr. And I know that it's supposed to be football season along with racing, but he says it feels like he's got 4 basketballs for tires, and this car is snappy, loose, and he also says the power steering isn't working very well. I want to ask DJ, how fun is this track with no power steering, huh?
I can promise you that's no fun, and with the tires like that, and that's probably why he's getting that feel of the tires, because he doesn't have that power steering working properly. But too much air, the combination with shocks, the way that they run those, coil binding the springs, so a lot of things add up that. But this is not a place that you don't want to have that power steering.
And to make matters worse, take a look in the rearview mirror for Martin Truex, and right behind is your race leader. That's right, Kyle Busch has put everybody but the top 14 cars a lap down.
Watching here to see how hard it's just you have to pull and tug on the wheel so much, and it's not a problem as long as everything's okay. But if that car starts to either snap loose or push a little bit, you have a harder time correcting it because of this. Yeah, everybody said, well, they used to not race with power steering, but that's the way these cars are set up, and the way that you drive, the feel that you have for them. And when that goes away, it makes it very, very difficult.
Try and steer your passenger car without power steering. It's not fun, and it's not fun right now for Martin Truex, because that man right there, Kyle Busch, is closing in quickly. Let's check the motorsports calendar, because the Sprint Cup Series presented by Burger King, 1 Eastern tomorrow on ABC. For drag racing fans, we've got O'Reilly Superstar Batteries NHRA Fall Nationals from Texas. Qualifying's at 12:15 late tonight on ESPN2. The finals at 7 Eastern tomorrow. And then NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Just remember, 10 a.m., both a.m. and then p.m. on ESPN2. You'll get it all. Can tell you that we got action on pit road. The 66 is in. That is Stephen Wallace, as well as the 99 of Scott Speed.
Yeah, the 99's in after he missed pit road the first time that he made an attempt. This is a very difficult pit road to hit.
Dave?
And the 99 of Scott Speed had a right front vibrating. That's why he pitted earliest among the leaders, along with the 66 of Stephen Wallace. The crew's taking a look at it right now. Can't see anything from the outset that might be a problem with it, but Scott Speed knew he had to come down right away. He also had a commitment line violation. Jamie?
And you see the 10 car Reed Sorensen making their first pit stop of the day. Remember, he said his car was just a bit tight on exit. This is the first pit stop for this
The 38 of Jason Leffler is in as well. Leffler's been very happy with this race car. Says a little bit tight, as I mentioned earlier. He says very raceable. That's a good thing for crew chief Scott Zipadelli. 4 tires.
You see that Ruderman has finished his pit stop as well. Meanwhile, the race leader, 5 seconds for Kyle Busch over Carl Edwards. Neither one of them has stopped. Tony Raines also on the 34 there made his pit stop. You see him ahead of the 38 of Leffler and the 32 of David Ruderman.
So you could see Jason Leffler really wanting to go around the 34 car there, who he didn't think was going up to speed fast enough, but you can't do that on pit road.
We're coming this time, man. You got your number.
Ryan Newman also in pit lane right now. That means 7 cars are in the lead lap.
Coming this time.
Kyle Busch coming this lap. You see him waving his hand down the back straightaway.
Hey, you stay on the racetrack right on the bottom. That's obviously right in the racing groove as you turn off to try to get onto pit road. So Kyle's just letting these guys behind him.
19.1, a good stop for the Joe Gibbs Racing crew. Here comes Carl as he peels off for his first pit stop, Dave.
And Marty, he stayed out after Kyle pitted to lead 1 lap and get 5 bonus points. That was big. They're going to go down 1 round on the track bar. That will tighten up this car quite a bit for Carl, as they will also change 4 tires and full of Sunoco fuel.
Brad Keselowski inherits the race lead. He picks up 5 bonus points. He has yet to make his first stop. In fact, we still have 6 cars that have to make stops.
Pit road is very tricky to get onto. I've seen quite a few cars sliding to the line and missing it, actually. I saw the Morgan Shepherd just missed it.
Yeah, Ken Butler also missed it there, and a number of other guys sliding the tires as they come in, as you said, Andy. So this is one of the most difficult pit roads that we have on the circuit.
Jason Keller, the man who has started more concrete races than anybody else in the field today. This is his 76th start. He's in for his stop. Keller shown in 6th position when he peeled off. You get the view from high above. Right now, Keselowski is still the race leader. Martin Truex is still out there, as is Justin Allgaier. They're the only 3 that have yet to pit. Eric Darnell coming into pit lane. He peels off from 5th position. Shannon?
Eric Darnell's been here several times in a truck series, says this is not his favorite racetrack, but guys, they're looking to be the dark horse here this weekend. You see that chassis adjustment trying to get the 6th car right for Eric Darnell on the racetrack. It's also going to be 4 tires for this young driver.
14.8 seconds, and Shannon, we want to update you heard as here comes Justin Allgaier in. We'll get back to that in just a moment. Let's go to Vince.
Allgaier's the rookie points leader, 5th in the point standings overall. It's been a good season for this Penske driver. Says the car's a little tight on throttle. 4 tires and an air pressure change for the 12 car of Justin Allgaier.
So Martin Truex now comes in. As you can see, Allgaier stopped, taking a little bit longer than they wanted, and they're having trouble getting that car fired.
Yeah, if they're doing this, Brad Keselowski tried to come to pit road, and he missed it too. He got slowed down, but didn't get slowed down enough, so he's having to go around again.
And Allgaier pushed it just a little too far and is out of fuel. Trying to get it refired.
Watch yourself.
So now they got to push it all the way back. There goes Martin Truex by. As we mentioned, he made his stop.
Push, guys. I know it's hard. Push.
And Brad Keselowski is the last one to come in.
Keselowski is on pit road now, but he missed it the time before, and that'll cost him quite a bit of time when he goes back out onto the track.
It means Kyle Busch will cycle through as the leader. Jamie?
Well, they're adjusting that Jack Wolf 4 tires for the 88. He said he had a bit of a 4-wheel drift through the corners. Tough break for the 88, as you guys said. Missed pit road, had to come down his 2nd time. That's going to put him behind.
13.5 on the actual stop. We'll show or see where it shakes him out after he gets back out. Oh man, Justin Allgaier. And remember, this is the battle for 5th in the points championship with Stephen Wallace. And Stephen's still out there doing laps, and he's going lap after lap down.
This is very, very frustrating. It's so hard to get a car to start. That's why you don't want to run it out of fuel, because this right here, it takes a long time to get it started. NASCAR only allows you to push it 3 pit stalls to try to fire it, and then you have to back up.
And these guys are starting to get tired. That's 3,400 pounds they're pushing back and forth. Allgaier is shown 3 laps down right now in 28th as he finally gets it refired. He's probably going to go 4 down before it's over.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, that guys. They were struggling on the racetrack, and then to have something like that happen as they were battling for that 5th spot in the points, as we said earlier.
And if nothing happens to Stephen Wallace, he will move into 5th in the championship points by 31. Notice the 88 of Brad Keselowski. He was speeding in pit lane, so he has to come back through. So this is hurting his effort.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you heard him say, I'm sorry.
It wasn't just one segment. It was 4 segments, which tells me he's got a little error in his RPMs that you get for pit road speed, that he may have adjusted that just a little bit on the high side.
And I was going to question earlier how long they were staying out there, but that was the least of the problems, was how long they stayed out there. He missed the pit to come in the first time, had to go all the way around after he'd slowed down quite a bit, and then he gets called for speeding on his exit once he did get there. So going to lead to a tough day.
Okay, one thing that happens is you either get your pit road speed. Oh, whoa! A little tight right there getting up speed. But you get that RPM in first or second gear. Now here at Dover, the pit road speed is so slow that you actually get that RPM in first gear. We're hearing that Brad forgot that it was first and actually had his in second gear trying to do the same amount of RPMs. Obviously he was going faster, and that got him another penalty. Now here comes Allgaier. He's got to serve a penalty now for pushing the car more than the 3 pit stalls they allow. So that just adds insult to injury here.
So 6 laps down now for Justin Allgaier, about to go 7. Let's reset it for you because a lot has happened through this first round of pit stops. We have rain approaching. We are almost to midway. We have been caution free. Kyle Busch has led 86 laps. Brad Keselowski led 7. Carl Edwards has led 1. But now, as you saw Keselowski get his penalty, he is now a lap down in 18th. Carl Edwards is 3rd, but he is 9 seconds behind the high-flying Kyle Busch. Clint Bowyer has moved from 16th to 2nd on the racetrack right now. So it's Busch, Bowyer, Edwards, Scott Speed, and Mike Bliss. That is your top 5 right now. Reed Sorensen, we told you about the fact he was trying to fight for a job. He is the last car on the lead lap. Only 11 cars are shown now on the lead lap. He is 22 seconds behind the race leader. Justin Allgaier is now shown 30th, 6 total laps down. And we mentioned about Brad in the 88. He is 18th, 1 lap down.
Yeah, but you can see just behind him, only less than 2 seconds, is the leader of the race, Kyle Busch. So he's going to have to try to stay that 1 lap down. He's going to have to hustle right now, Brad Keselowski is, just to stay 1 lap down.
Let's check in on Ryan Newman, who is just outside the top 5 in 6th place. Shannon, what's the latest?
Well, Marty, tires haven't been a major issue here this weekend, but I want you to see the right front that came off of Ryan Newman's number 33 car into that last pit stop. Now, Ryan was not complaining about any vibration, said he just felt like something was wrong with the right front, so told the guys to take a look at it as soon as it came off, and of course, there you see the damage.
This is one of the hardest racetracks on tires that there is on the circuit. That's the kind of problems that we see here sometimes. If you push that thing a little too hard with your setup as far as camber or load that tire just a little too much, it can do that.
Guys, top of your screen. We're working lap number 99 of 200. 1 more, and this race will be official. Now, 1 race in 2009 has gone 100-plus laps before the first caution. It looks like this will be the second. Milwaukee was that race. We ran 124 under green flag conditions. Put Justin Allgaier 7 laps down as we are now officially in the books. Okay, does this change your thought pattern now as a crew chief? Now you know this race is official.
Yeah, it changed it a little bit. I mean, now you're looking at the radar. You're trying to figure out if the rain is going to hit before the end of the race, and if so, you're going to try to predict when. And you know, obviously, if you're Kyle Busch, you're not too worried about it. You just stay up front. But you know, that's the thing about it. They're not going to throw this caution flag until the racetrack is wet. And you never know when that's going to happen.
I don't want to jinx us, but so far, at the rate that's been moving, we might get all 200 laps in, especially if we stay caution-free.
The Monster Mile and Dover, Kyle Busch continuing in that 18 car to lead today's NASCAR Nationwide Series event. We take a look now at our Verizon Wireless race rundown, which focuses a lot around Kyle Busch. First, rain threatening this race. We are across the midway point of the event. Now if it gets wet, it's anybody's guess what happens. Kyle Busch, the Nationwide Series championship leader, on the pole for this race. Throw a couple of questions at the start. Couldn't hear, his team can't hear him. He can hear the team. NASCAR says, okay, as long as he can hear the team, he's allowed to continue. Kyle waving from the car at NASCAR officials' command. Yes, he can, in fact, hear the team. Sometimes you're guilty until proven innocent. And I don't blame the officials there because it is a safety issue. And the caution has just come out onto this racetrack for debris. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch passing the 2,000 laps led mark in a season. Only the second driver in the history of the Nationwide Series ever to do so. Sam R, the other driver to do that. Sam back in 1984 led 2,127 laps. That our Verizon Wireless Race Rundown. Now what do you do?
Right now you come out, put 4 tires in that baby, and hope for the best and make an adjustment, because a lot of guys were really off in their handling, and this thing's been caution free for 109 laps right now. This is a very key pit stop for a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of good race cars, like I said earlier, are getting up towards the front. You look at the lap times. We're looking at Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards, Speed, Bliss Newman. These guys should be able to hang with Kyle Busch, especially that the lap traffic's going to be out of the way.
It's going to be really interesting to see if Kyle Busch tries to fix this radio in this pit stop too. Yeah. This could really help him.
11 cars on the lead lap, and that, Mr. Wallace, your son Steven, is the Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass Award winner. First car not on the lead lap, 12th place. He's going to come back around and rejoin the hunt.
Thank you very much. We'll take that.
Lucky dog.
I know it. All right, Mr. Petrie, champion crew chief upstairs. What are you thinking about for pit stops here?
4 tires and fuel. You don't know how far this thing's going, but you got to assume it's going to go all the way.
Yeah, it could. And I think maybe Brad Keselowski might stay out here and try to get the wave around as these other guys come.
Yeah, he needs to try to make up for that mistake he made on pit road. This will be a good opportunity for him to do that.
Brad last pitted on lap number 90. We're working lap number 111. So, yes, he could afford to stay out.
Martin Truex is another one in the one car that could take advantage of the same thing. We'll see what they do.
You know, Alan mentioned the lucky dog going to Stephen Wallace. Let's also talk about that 5th place points battle, because right now with Stephen in 12th and Justin Allgaier well back in the field at 27th, it is now the 66th in 5th place in that championship points by a total of 25. Shannon, let's send it your way.
Clint Boyer really gaining some ground on Kyle Busch, but says the car's getting a little bit snug on those last couple laps. But he said no changes, boys. 4 tires and fuel for the 29. Dave.
Carl Edwards said the track bar adjustment helped last time, but he's still just a little bit loose going into the corners. Wedge in the left rear, 1 round this time. Sunoco fuel and 4 tires. Jamie?
Well, Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief for Kyle Busch, taking a guess here. Obviously, they haven't heard a word from their driver the entire race. 4 tires here, he said, a half pound on the left rear, so that was an air pressure adjustment. Full Sunoco fuel, and the 18's down and away.
I don't think you'd want to adjust too much. I mean, he's had the killer car the entire event, leading 103 laps. He comes out leading again on the race-off pit road. And then Carl and Scott Speed pick up a spot each, and Clint Boyer drops 2. So while this first caution here at Dover continues for the cleanup in turn 4, we're going to take a quick break. Tomorrow here at the Monster Mile, the lead has changed 4 of the last 5 seasons for the championship in Dover's fall race. Does it happen again tomorrow? It's the Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Burger King, 1 Eastern, tomorrow on ABC. Back here at the Dover 200, we're under our first caution. And want to talk about Scott Speed one more time. Remember Dave Burns had mentioned the fact that he had a commitment lane violation. Well, NASCAR took a look at the video and said no, all 4 tires were not below the line. That's why he was never forced to come back in. We want to make sure we cleared that one up for you. And let's go back as 4th place, Clint Boyer, where lights just went out on the pace car. Take a look at what happened during his pit stop, Andy.
Yeah, he made a nice run up to 2nd spot, came in here to make this pit stop, and you can see, I don't know how many lugs there are on that right front, but it looks like he hit it about 12 times, and we know there's only 5 nuts there, so you see they spent a little extra time on the right side. Cost them 2 spots coming off of pit road.
And as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, we can tell you 8 cars took the wave around, including the 88 and the 1.
Yeah, we can compare these pit crews by just this pit stop comparison. You can see it's all on the right-hand side there. 8.5 seconds, that's where he lost all the time. The other 2 segments, the Jack Man and the left side, are fairly close, within just a few tenths.
So as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, that means 15 cars after the 8 take advantage of the wave around are back on the green or on the lead lap. Brad Keselowski shown in 14th, Martin Truex in 15th. Your top 5, it is Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, Scott Speed, Clint Boyer, and Ryan Newman. And it looks like Kyle has taken the high side as we get ready to go back green.
Yeah, that's a little bit interesting. We don't really know which one's going to work here. All we have to go off of is the start of the race. So Kyle probably doesn't know. He's just experimenting, and he says he thinks this is where his best opportunity to lead is.
He's had a rocket ship, but what difference does it make?
He could probably start in 5th and have the lead by the time we got off turn 2.
And he's got it again already. Makes it look like Carl was napping.
Yeah, I think that gave you the best opportunity to run through there wide open, and that looks like pretty much what he did.
Well, you can see bits of rubber come flying up out of the corner.
It looks like he hadn't lifted yet. Kyle Busch still putting his leg in it.
And this will be rarely the first chance we'll see as these other guys have made some adjustments. Have they gotten their cars closer to what Kyle Busch is?
Well, I'll tell you, that 29 car was running him down before that caution came out. He has a better car, did before that. And you see right here, he's put a lot of pressure on second place Carl Edwards.
Well, and Boyer, as you mentioned, has moved up around Scott Speed for 3rd. Now he's gotten around Carl Edwards for 2nd, and here he goes, setting sail. Do we have someone who can finally challenge the 18?
Well, we've talked about his car getting tight after he runs a few laps, so that means right now his car is really good. It just tightens up after he runs a while, so this will be his best opportunity to try to get around the 18.
Oh, he's got him right here.
This is the best battle that Kyle's been faced with all day long, and here goes the lead. Could it change hands on the track for the first time today?
See Boyer drive that car down in the corner, sparks flying.
Clear.
All clear.
Woo. Yeah, and this could be where that radio communication that Kyle Busch can't relay over to his crew if his car's not exactly right.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. That's going to be what's going to hurt the team is if Kyle cannot communicate with them, he can't tell them what changes to make on this car.
And you heard Jamie during the pit stop say they only went up a little bit on tire pressure, so obviously now they're going to have to try and guess and figure out what changes they make next time.
Hand signals won't do you a whole lot of good. I mean, you can tell whether the car's tight or loose by that.
Caution's out.
Got another caution.
I'll tell you what, this works for Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex right here. That's exactly what they were looking for. This lets them come to pit road now. These other guys are going to stay out here. Lets them get to pit road, get their tires and fuel, and they'll be able to go, Andy.
Yeah, that was a good move right there. And a good opportunity for both of those cars to get back in the game.
Truex and Brad. Brad had moved up to 12th, Truex 15th, and that is the last car on the lead lap. Now, if you're Kyle Busch, you still can't communicate, but under caution, could you at least lean somebody into the window and, he could tell him?
Well, not now. He's not going to make a pit stop.
Well,
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's what you're
going to try to do it here under caution. Maybe they can get some hand signals.
Yeah, but even the hand signals doesn't tell you as a crew chief, Andy, exactly what you're looking for. He might be telling him it's tight or loose, but does that mean tight into the corner, in the middle, on the exit? So what are you going to do then?
Well, if you get enough caution laps, what I would do is try to frame my questions right. Okay, say, do you want to take some wedge out? Put your hand on the roof. He puts it up there. Yeah, we'll do that. If you want to lower the track bar, put your hand on the roof. Use some of these hand signals and ask the right questions. You might get some answers here. This will be your only opportunity under caution to get that.
Yeah, and the tires that they took off will give them a little indication, too, of what maybe the car was doing as they look at the tire pressures and the wear.
Jamie, what's the latest from down there on pit road?
Well, you don't see him communicating with hand signals because they don't have any. Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief, hasn't asked him to communicate as of now. He's just telling his driver lap times and telling him right now the changes they made on the last stop, which was air pressure, as you said. So right now, it doesn't seem to be a big problem for Kyle.
Well, this is going to be interesting because it definitely looked like the 29 had the best of it there in that quick short blast. Now David Rudiman is peeled off from his 10th place position to come in for a pit stop. So has Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex, as there you can see their cars as well. Let's send it to Vince.
Boy, Martin Truex is using words like pushes, bounces, hooks. All of those are bad descriptions when you're in the seat of a race car. 4 tires and fuel, the track bar down a couple of rounds. They're also going to make an adjustment on that right rear shock. This is a handful for Martin Truex Jr. Jamie.
And Brad Keselowski was thinking about coming down, and he did. He's in the pit box. He said it just takes a few laps to get going. He's got a fast car, guys, but unfortunately he got himself in trouble earlier. He hasn't been able to run with those front runners.
We'll both get back out here under our second caution, as we've run a total of 8 laps under caution. Boyer, the race leader. The only lead change that we actually had on the track. The rest came through the rotation of the pits. But so far it has been a dominating performance by Kyle Busch. But the big question mark is twofold. One, can they figure out what that car needs, and can they do it before the rain hits here at Dover International Speedway, because it's closing in. Getting back to green flag racing, the Aaron's Lucky Dog puts 16 cars back on the lead lap. Tony Raines in the 34 gets the nod there. And this time Clint Boyer, he selected the low side, and he pulls away from Kyle Busch. So whatever change they made during that last pit stop, it didn't help. Not for the 18.
Well, it might be the fact that they didn't change anything. Every cars are adjusting up and trying to get better.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's out of this by any means just because Clint Boyer's passed him right here. See some three-wide racing right behind these guys.
That's Matt Kenseth in the 16, and right in front of him, that's the 20 of Denny Hamlin coming on strong. They're both getting around the 11 with Mike Bliss, and all of a sudden Bliss on the low side retakes the position. He's got Jason Leffler in the 38 right in front of him.
Got Denny Hamlin up on the outside now trying to work the top.
Now Carl Edwards putting a move on the 18 for second position, as Boyer has opened up about a 5-car length lead. Kyle runs up the hill, and here comes Carl on the low side.
Yeah, he just couldn't make it stick right there. As a driver, you can get in the gas, but it pushes up. He was going to run into Kyle Busch if he didn't lift just a little bit.
Back on board with Kyle. Back up a little further into the field. Brad Keselowski is 13th right now. He's got Stephen Wallace in his gun sights and gets around him. So move Keselowski up to 12th. And Wallace back to 13th. Here comes Carl again.
Carl still working on Kyle Busch. He's going to get clear. Crossover.
Here comes Kyle underneath. Will he be able to get it done? No. So move Carl up to second, and the farthest back that Kyle Busch has been all day, he's now third. And here comes Scott Speed licking his chops.
Kyle Busch is not anywhere as fast as he was the first part of this race. Well, if the track's changing and he's not able to keep up with it.
How frustrating can it be for his crew chief, Jason Radcliffe, not knowing what his driver needs? They have no communication from the car back to the pit. That's Scott Speed right behind. Jason Leffler, Matt Kenseth. Kenseth right on the back bumper of Leffler. That is for 8th. Here comes David Rudiman to get into the mix. And here Brad Keselowski, third in the championship hunt. 3 wins on concrete out of the 5 that he's had in his Nationwide Series career. And he says, I want to get back in this game.
He's getting back in it. He's passing cars 1 and 2 a lap here. Now he's underneath this 32 car. Yeah. David Rudiman, he can't quite get clear of this corner.
It looks like it takes Brad's car about 5 laps to come in, but man, when it does, he is really hooked up. Makes a lot of time in the center of the corner.
Mike Bliss got his hands full with the 33 of Ryan Newman and Denny Hamlin. Bliss hiccups just for a second, and Hamlin almost said thank you.
Yeah, Hamlin and them looked like they made quite a few changes on that car. They spent a little extra time on pit road during that last pit stop. See if it's going to work out for them.
2 battles going on the same time on the racetrack. You can see here comes the 88 underneath David Rudiman. Keselowski trying to get that position, just can't seem to get deep enough. Let's get an update on the 32, Dave.
And Marty, he was one of the cars that pitted that time. As you see Keselowski now looking from the outside. Rudiman's car was loose all the way through the corner. They wanted a wedge and track bar adjustment along with 4 tires and fuel to the end. 32 is one that can make it to the end of this race.
All right, we've got the update on the 32 going the distance. How many others potentially could?
I think they check up and down pit road. They'll find quite a few of the cars can make it to the end of the race because there was 89 laps to go when they made their last pit stop. We've had a few caution laps since then, too, for a little insurance.
And while all this goes on, there goes Bliss as the 33 of Newman rides up the racetrack. He goes underneath, says, thank you, I'll take the position. Newman says, well, I want to try and take it back.
Yeah, good solid day for Mike Bliss, though, in this 11 car. He's got it up into 5th, but Again, another car, it takes a few laps for him to come in with his tires, but once he does, he's very solid after that.
Bliss back into the top 5 now as he fell back out of it for a while there. And you can see up in front there is the top 3, as it is, well, actually 2 of the top 3, as Clint Boyer has opened up a 2.7 second lead over that 60 car of Carl Edwards, with Kyle Busch right behind him. And let's check in with Jason Ratcliffe. Jamie, how frustrating is it for him?
Yeah, crew chief for Kyle Busch. Jason, do you have any clue what's going on with this car right now?
Yeah, we've got a little bit of radio communication with him right now on a backup channel. Just too loose. We made some adjustments on the first stop. It was better, but we needed a lot more. And then right here, I don't know what's going on. It just wouldn't take off for him. So obviously we're not keeping up with the track like we need to. If we can get one more stop here, I think we can fix it up. Maybe get this NOS energy drink in Victor Lane.
All right, so Jason Ratcliffe has a secret channel that nobody else knows about. He's communicating with his driver all alone, guys.
And while all that's going on, you saw that Kyle got around Carl Edwards for second, and here that battle continues a little bit further back with Ruderman and Brad Keselowski duking it out for 10th. So they do have some radio communication. I like the word some. He didn't say we have it. He said we have some. So it can't be all that great.
Well, let me tell you, just a little will go a long way right now. Now he knows what he needs to do, and needs to do it the next time they get an opportunity.
Mike Bliss coming on strong, looking at the 99 of Scott Speed and licking his chops, saying, I would like to take over 4th. Thank you.
And that's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. You can see Mike Bliss really able to get back to the throttle soon in the center of the corner.
Let's get more on this situation, Dave.
Well, and for Paul Wolf, who is working with Mike Bliss for the first time in this particular car, as he gets so close to Scott Speed trying to get around him, it's been a really great weekend so far. And as you guys have noted, after a few laps, this car really comes through. The crew told me right before the race, we really noticed yesterday that on old tires, the 11 car was as good as anybody in the top 5, and it's paying off now.
Well, he has certainly got the groove that he had lost earlier in the race. Now he's looking to the high side here around Scott Speed.
Yeah, that was his problem. Is that's where he was really making up some time, and but now Scott Speed's taking that line away from him.
We've got a report of rain in one of the corners, and Brad Keselowski goes around Jason Leffler. That is for 9th.
Just a few drops are falling right now, so it'll be an opportunity, like for Mike Bliss right here, needs to get this spot before this rain starts picking up and getting heavier.
Very, very light is the description we're getting, and Scott Speed slams the door one more time on the 11th.
Yeah, I was told that Mike Bliss really liked his car, but he thought that he was going to have a difficult time making passes on the bottom of the racetrack because his car was just a little bit free.
There's the margin all the way up to your race leader. Clint Boyer has a 3.7 second margin over Kyle Busch. Carl Edwards is in 3rd. Scott Speed in 4th. Mike Bliss rounds out your top 5. Carl won last race out at Richmond. Can he pull the double off? How about Kyle Busch? He won here before. And Clint Boyer, the former champ, in front.
Now, these guys are friends. Pretty good friends off the racetrack. That might strain their friendship for a couple of days.
They were racing really hard right there, 3 of them. It's like Matt got up on the outside of the 33.
Yeah, basically I think that Ryan didn't have any idea that Matt was there, and was Matt far enough up? We'll watch the replay and see.
You see right here, Denny Hamlin and Newman having a little contact getting into turn 3. That kind of slows them up a little bit. And here you see Matt. He just gets a big run up on the top side. Like you say, Dale, I'm not sure Ryan Newman knew Matt was up there.
Yeah, you're right.
Matt had a big run, though, so he really wasn't to the outside.
I thought he was.
He caught him in the right rear bumper, so that's really not far enough. But
let's go on board and see it from a different perspective.
Yellow's out. Yellow. Yeah, back in.
Well, you can see the work going on the 33. We also have the 88 of Brad Keselowski, David Ruderman, and Vince, the 38's in.
Jason Leffler's been happy with his car all day long, but this last stint, this last set of tires has not agreed with him. He says the car is bouncing, and even though they were P8, he said, we can't win like this. We got to pit. Jamie?
Brad Keselowski said he's getting loose in the corners. 4 tires and fuel for the 88.
David Rudiman finishes his work as well. Martin Truex also came in on that round of pit stops.
I think the weather really affected the decisions the crew chiefs made right here, because I think the leaders would have made a pit stop and got some tires and adjustments if they knew this race was going all the way to the end. But right now they can feel some raindrops. They can see it on the radar. Can't afford to give this track position up, especially if you know you've got enough fuel to make it to the end, even if it does go all the way.
So we went well over 100 laps before we had our first caution, and now we are in our 4th here on lap number 146, as we've almost reached the 3/4 mark of this race. Clint Boyer, as you pointed out, stayed out, and you notice all the rubber on the front of his hood on the white section there. You can see some of the guys were talking about how it has built up, and then when we go back to green flag racing, it's affected the grip.
Well, what happens is they're putting a lot of rubber on the racetrack, and then once they have a caution flag, they have these hot tires. They're riding around with these hot tires. They pick up that rubber off the racetrack and just kind of builds up this little crusty buildup, and then when the race starts back, you can see right there is a bunch of marbles. When the race goes back, it slings all that back off of there, and that's when you see all the rubber flying and the marbles, and it gets on the cars.
Well, while we've got a chance, let's check with Martin Truex, our in-race reporter. He's running 15th right now on the lead lap.
Hey, Martin, Dale Jarrett, do you have a copy?
They're going to be on 30-lap pressure tires, and everybody else has stayed out front. So it might get a little interesting. Fat Boy, keep a good eye on them here.
All right, 10-4.
Hey, Martin, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN, you have a copy?
Yeah, go ahead, Dale.
Hey, Martin, we understand you may be battling some issues with your steering, power steering. Maybe it's not working exactly to your level of comfort.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's something don't feel right with the steering box. It's when I go to correct the car to the right, when I get loose, it kind of locks up the steering. So been battling that and handling issues. Car's not nearly as good as it was yesterday. All the rubber on the track has changed things considerably. I've got a lot of bounce in my tires and the rubber buildup in the seams of the track. So just been fighting that and just trying to keep digging hard and see what I can get for these guys.
Martin, were you seeing much rain before that caution?
It's raining right now, so we'll see what happens. We're going green.
All right, good luck, mate. Thanks.
All right, let's
All right, bud.
update you on the Aaron's Lucky Dog. Michael Annette gets the free ride, so that puts 16 cars back on the lead lap, and there's Michael. Had a bit of a problem in qualifying earlier today, went to a backup car and done a good job to get into the top 15 right now. Lights out on the pace car. Clint Boyer has selected the inside again on the low line.
See right there, that 18 car trying to clean his rear tires off and laid 2 big black marks. See how much buildup there is on those tires.
Yeah, that's the one thing on these restarts. You get that buildup, you go to the throttle, you'll spin the tires and create a big problem for yourself and others.
Boyer, Busch, front row. Then it's Carl Edwards, Scott Speed, Mike Bliss, Denny Hamlin. That is your top 6. Pace car has pulled off. We're getting ready to start lap number 150. And we're back to green at Dover.
Clint Boyer doesn't get near the jump he did the last restart. Kyle Busch right there.
Still there.
You saw the raindrops on our camera lens. The big question is now, how long can we hold it off? Boyer takes over the lead, but the 2 of them now have opened up a bigger gap over 3rd place.
And that 3rd place is actually Mike Bliss, who was able to move up into that spot on the restart.
Carl Edwards is 4th right now. Scott Speed drops down to 5th. And he's got his hands full with the 20 of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's car starting to come to him.
Yeah, they've made some adjustments on that 20 car, and he's a lot better now.
Hamlin on the high side has got the position. You can see from that nice long angle there exactly that groove really working well for the 20. So move Scott Speed back to 6th. So he's going in the wrong direction here early in this run, just after our 3rd caution.
Yeah, this could be something that was a little new to Scott Speed, getting that rubber all off of there, because he hasn't seen this type of situation before on these type of racetracks, because it's really not something with the tires that they've been racing on in the Cup side especially that we've had an issue with.
That's 9th through 11th. Leffler in 9th, on board with Brad Keselowski as he takes over 10th.
He's got 4 new tires that last pit stop, so he's making a move with them.
Yeah, if this race goes the entire way to the distance of 200 laps, that could be an advantage for Brad Keselowski.
Well, we have 48 laps to go. Right now, it is still Clint Bowyer up front, but the man on the move is Denny Hamlin this time. Hamlin closing in on Carl Edwards for 4th position.
He's running a little higher line than what the rest of these leaders are. All the guys in front of him are running right on the bottom of the racetrack, but Denny's kind of taken to the middle of the track and trying to get a good run off, and seems to be working really well for him.
Well, you heard Denny before the start of the race talk as we take a look at Brad Keselowski going underneath the 38 of Jason Leffler. So move Brad up into the 9th position.
Hey, Mike Bliss putting a lot of pressure on Kyle Busch right here.
Well, I've been watching his car really good through the center of the corner. Let's see if he's able to get a nose under Kyle Busch.
He got a nose last lap right here through 1 and 2, but couldn't make the pass.
What a performance by Mike Bliss. The best this car has finished this year has been a 7th. He's got it running 2nd right now. And remember, this guy's trying to impress somebody for a job next year.
If that doesn't impress you, I don't know what does.
And he's pulling away from the series points leader. Back a little further for 8th position, Brad Keselowski closing in on Stephen Wallace.
Stephen Wallace also made a pit stop the last time.
He just got fuel with his car, though. They were happy with their tires. They just came in, they needed a little bit of fuel to get to the end.
They may not be as happy right now because Brad just is going under him like, well, like he's got fresher tires. Made it look easy. Now the 16 of Matt Kenseth also came in and put on fresh tires. He's got some damage on that front nose.
Yeah, they came in and had to fix a lot of that damage from the incident with Ryan Newman. He did get some body damage. You can see right here where they've replaced or actually placed this bear bond on that left front headlight.
He's 15th right now. That's Michael Annett in front of him, and that is for position for 14th.
Yeah, I mentioned yesterday during the during practice show, the City Financial guys, they had an effort up here, Greg Biffle, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Delaware. So really good things that City Financial does in a lot of the communities that we go to.
Let's check in once again. As you see, Kenseth still trying to get around the 15. That is for position. Martin Truex right in front is also for position. He is 13th, and Annett is looking to go underneath Truex. So before we shift back to the front, we've got a good battle going on a little bit further back. And boy, Michael Annett in a backup car, this is a great run for this team.
Yeah, we talked about Denny Hamlin having 2 qualifying laps before he got in the race. Michael Annett had no laps whatsoever on this car because he crashed his primary car trying to qualify.
Started all the way in the back of the field. Truex is now even being passed by Justin Allgaier. Allgaier, remember, is 7 laps down in 26th. Now let's go up front because the 20 of Denny Hamlin and Carl Edwards. Hamlin's 4th, Edwards now 5th.
Looks like Hamlin's found him a groove, a place his car really likes to run. Now he's past Carl Edwards, and the next one in line is going to be his teammate Kyle Busch.
Well, we know what happened last time the 20 and the 18 got together on this track. In case you weren't with us, you know, Carl had a tire go down, and the 20 driven by Joey Logano got into him, and allowed Brad Keselowski to go around both of them for the race win back in May.
We'll watch. That's about a 1 second difference when Hamlin got around there. So we'll see how long it takes him if he can get to the 18.
Well, taking a look at Scott Speed as he is trying to make his way back. He fell back to 6th, but he started to get a little bit closer to Carl Edwards. And looking at the lap times, they're both running 24.5 seconds right now. So things have settled down, at least for the moment. You saw Brad Keselowski. He is actually running a bit quicker than Scott Speed. But there is your race leader, Clint Bowyer, with a 1.9 second lead with 37 laps to go.
Bowyer driving the Holiday Inn car conveniently is Dominating this race at the moment for our Holiday Inn race summary. We look back a couple of years. That was 2006. Clint Boyer winning here at the Monster Mile. Almost forgetting to put the transmission in gear when he jumped out to celebrate after doing the burnouts. And we look at our race summary. Been a lot of staying under green in this race. Only 3 caution flags so far. The leader's story, Kyle Busch dominated the first half of the race. He's led 109 laps in this race, but Kyle has slipped back to 3rd spot, and Clint Boyer took the lead from Kyle at lap 118, and he's basically been unheaded from that point on. So, story of the day, Kyle Busch dominates early. Now Clint Boyer dominates late, and we have 29 laps to go. And the other story is, will we see all 29 of those laps under green? Because there's a lot of green. Work with me here, Holiday Inn thing. A lot of green.
I see the green
radar.
on Holiday Inn, but look at the green on the radar right there. I mean, the rain is basically right on us here at Dover. And I tell you what, maybe another 10 laps before the rain gets here, because it's awful close. And the pit crews are saying that it's sprinkling down there right now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him to get it in, but I've just been amazed. Clint Boyer's been so fast. What about a great run from Mike Bliss today, and the lack of the communication problems that Kyle Busch has had has just really cost him an opportunity to win this race today.
Richard Childress Racing has been so dominant in this NASCAR Nationwide Series for the last several years. 2009's been a struggle for them, but as we send it back up to Marty Reed, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie, this is a nice, well-needed performance by the Childress team, huh?
Absolutely, Alan. In fact, the only win this team has is Daytona back in July by that man right there, Clint Boyer, as he's got a 2.2-second lead right now. Let's check in with Shannon Spade.
Well, he has had a rocket ship of a car all afternoon. Crew Chief Mike Dillon reminding Clint Boyer, don't overdrive that car. You have a good piece of machine underneath you guys. They are also good on fuel. You see Doug Randolph right there on the right side of the screen. He told me they have 3 laps to the good for this race if it goes all the way.
Thanks for the update, Shannon. Right behind him, well, not right behind him, 1.6 seconds behind is Mike Bliss. And let me correct something. I had mentioned the fact that the 11's best finish this year was 7th. I forgot about Andrew Ranger's 3rd place run up at Montreal on the road course up there. So that's the best. But Bliss, 1 spot better right now, running in 2nd.
They have a little bit of an alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing, which helps them a lot with their Toyotas. And you know, they work together a little bit, and Joe Gibbs builds their cars and bodies.
Kyle Busch running 3rd, 3.9 seconds. He's clinched the most laps led today. That's the 12th time in this season that he's done it. But it's the first time in the last 13 races. And there's Denny Hamlin as he has marched his way back into contention. He's now running 4th, a full 5 seconds. As we got a little battle going here for 9th place between Stephen Wallace and Jason Leffler. Leffler going to try that high line. He looks like he may make it work.
Yeah, you see Stephen Wallace saw that he was coming, gave him some room. Saw that same move a while ago when Ryan Newman and Matt Kenseth came off that corner, got together.
And Stephen realized this is a really good day for him. You know, he's sitting there in the 10th spot right now, but the guy that he was battling for that 5th spot with, Justin Allgaier's had a lot of problems throughout the day, so he can be a really good point today. So smart move by Steve Wallace right there.
Well, and Stephen right now has moved into that 5th spot by unofficially right around 25 points. And there's the 10 of Reed Sorensen, another guy that's looking for a ride next year. He is running 8th, right in front of Leffler and Wallace, and that's Scott Speed right in front of him. Speed, of course, the 1 Truck Series win that he had here. Started to move forward, then moved back, now getting back towards the front.
See up front now, this lead, the interval between 1st and 2nd has shrunk a little bit through the traffic, and Clint Boyer trying to work that traffic. Mike Bliss able to close down just a little bit on Clint.
Well, we have a total of 14 cars on the lead lap. Update you on a few others that are. There's only 3 cars that are 1 lap down. If we get another caution, Tony Raines would get the free ride. And as you see, Mr. Bliss in 2nd place. He is the 7th driver of this number 11 car in 2009. And right now, he's got it in 2nd place. Dover with 14 laps to go as the rain continues to threaten, and the only guy threatening right now is the number 29 of Clint Boyer. Shouldn't be surprised, though, in the Last 6 times he's raced here at Dover in this series, he's had 4 top 5s. He's got a 2.4 second lead over that man right there, Mike Bliss, who's giving that 11 car its best run in 2009. And then you got to draw up all the way back another 4 seconds to find Kyle Busch in 3rd, who dominated this race early, but just can't seem to find the combination to get back up front.
Yeah, one of the faster cars on the racetrack is Brad Keselowski right behind these 2 cars, these 2 Gibbs cars. He took tires that last caution, and it's really helped him move his way back up and recover from that mistake he made as far as speeding on.
With 12 right now.
And Brad Keselowski's right there.
88, guys. And he's spinning sideways into the wall, guys.
Oh, and that looks just like the video yesterday that we saw when Matt DiBenedetto. But DiBenedetto did it on his own.
Come on around, we'll look at it. Yeah, it was just slight contact right there, but it was definitely contact between Keselowski and Hamlin, mainly from Keselowski.
So our 4th caution of the day here, with about 10 laps remaining, sends the 20 car scampering to the garage area.
Makes you wonder why Denny Hamlin doesn't like this track.
Hey, just can't seem to have any luck at it.
Yeah, it's been a tough track for him.
So another tough break. Remember, Denny was looking so good back at Richmond. Had that one moment where he got sideways, made the save, but ended up getting past and ended up losing the race.
Hey, that's going to change this race complexion quite a bit up front on this restart, too. We see right there, Brad had a run on the inside, but
it's definitely Keselowski's fault. I mean, he just ran over the back of him.
Yeah, had to know that he was coming back down.
Give you a different perspective from high above. So as we continue under this 4th caution, we'll reset the scene as we're going to go back for the shootout here. To go back to green flag racing, it is Clint Boyer taking the low side again, the inside line. Mike Bliss 2nd, Kyle Busch 3rd, Brad Keselowski up to 4th, looking for his 6th straight top 5 finish. Despite the little crash there, we'll probably talk more about that. And here we go, back to green flag racing with a total of 7 laps to go.
Mike Bliss with a good restart, but he tried to drive it down in there and it wouldn't hang on.
Boyer picks up where he left off, opening up the lead again. Kyle Busch. Yeah, he's got his hands full as Keselowski goes into 3rd. And here comes Carl Edwards. There's your top 3 in points. The points leader in the 18 is the meat in the sandwich. How these races change. For the first half of this race, it was all Kyle Busch. Didn't look like anybody had anything. And right now, he's got his hands full just to try and get into the top 3.
Brad Keselowski's not satisfied with 3rd, I don't believe. He's after Mike Bliss in 2nd.
How about a little further back, Scott Speed in the 99. Then there's Stephen Wallace, David Rudiman. That is all for position as well. 8th, 9th, and 10th. Whoa. Oh, look out. That's going to hurt a little bit.
Inside, stay with the insides. Clear. I'll got to keep going here. No caution.
Jason Keller got around him as well, so he loses a couple of spots. If he hasn't done any damage to the tires, he may be able to make it because it would be a big gain in his points chase for 5th. He has the spot right now. Justin Allgaier has dropped down to 6th in the championship points. Back up front with 4 laps remaining. It's now a 7/10 of a second lead for Boyer over Bliss. And Keselowski is closing in. A little further back, Wallace has got his hands full now with Matt Kenseth.
Probably going to lose another spot here. Got a pretty good contact on that outside wall.
He's hanging on to it, but there he goes running up the hill. He's going to lose it spot there, and Eric Darnell behind him, but Darnell is 2 laps down, not a factor.
It's best he just doesn't make a bad situation worse right here at the very end of the race. Got less than 3 laps to go now.
And look at this battle for 2nd spot. Mike Bliss doing everything he can to give this 11 car its best finish of the year. He's got Brad Keselowski all over him with now about a lap and a half to go.
This has been really good on the bottom of the racetrack, able to get off as we come to the white flag.
Clint Boyer.
One more time, nice and smooth, no pressure.
He was the best in both practice sessions. Did not qualify all that well. Started 16th. But right now, he's got a full second over Mike Bliss and Brad Keselowski. Down into 3 and 4 for the final time. And it looks like the number 29 is going to give Richard Childress a belated birthday present. He was 64 on Monday, and happy birthday, Richard. Your man just won for you. Here we go. Look at this a little further back. Speed battling Ruderman, and he gets this position for 8th. And even further back into the field, Kenseth comes across 11th with Wallace, 12th. And what a run for Michael Annett. Comes through.
Good job, guys. Man, good job. Proud of you.
Michael Annett comes through to finish 13th after going to a backup car and starting in the back of the field. Great run for that team. Let's check in with Vince.
Doug, so good during the weekend, fastest in practice, a little slip up in qualifying, didn't have the number you wanted there, but was there any doubt in your mind that you guys were the car to beat this weekend?
Well, there's always a doubt, you know, how whether it was going to rain, not going to rain, but the Holiday Inn Express, man, it was on a rail all weekend. Didn't get the qualifying run we wanted, but Clint did a great job. Guys did a great job all weekend in the pits, and it's just nice to knock off another win here for Holiday Inn.
You didn't know for sure that Clint was going to drive this car until Monday. How quickly did that come together for you guys once you found out for sure?
Well, that all came together really quick. We're just trying to make our program better, trying to get the same driver in the car for a couple weeks so we can make our program better, and that decision was made, and Clint did a great job this weekend for us, for sure.
Just the second time this season that Clint Boyer's driven in back-to-back nationwide races. He's capped those back-to-backs with a victory each time.
Our cameraman almost got run over there. Well, the celebration has already begun as Clint is burning them to the ground right in front of the fans here. We'll talk to him when we come back.
Dover International Speedway is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR, and Verizon Wireless. Get the insider track from Penske Racing, race analysis from our drivers, plus highlights and more on VCast.
Back here at the Monster Mile for the 8th time in his Nationwide Series career, Clint Bowyer is going to be climbing out in victory lane. Here's the celebration.
Well, your defending series champion shows them how it's done here at Dover as raindrops start to fall on the racetrack. Clint, you had a fast car in practice, only made one change in the race. How good was that car today?
It was good all weekend long. Holiday Inn Chevrolet, hats off to all these guys. This ain't been the best of years for our nationwide team, and you know, Doug Randolph, all the guys in this 2019 dug deep. This is a new race car. We're gonna. I tried to take care of the fenders doing burnout, but hopefully we'll bring this to Kansas next week and have the same result. Just, you know, the guys have been working hard to get this thing turned around. Just want to, you know, appreciate everybody at RCR.
Yeah, Doug told me this morning that you guys have really fallen behind with this 29 program. They've turned to you for the next 3 weeks to gain some consistency. How much momentum does this win give you going into the next 2 races?
Oh, a lot. You know, just being in the car for the next few weeks is going to be good. You know, Dover, what an awesome racetrack. I love this place. I love the fans, you know, that come out here and watch us race. And, you know, the weather held off. I was hoping for rain. Then we got out there. I was like, let it go. It'll be a good race. But, you know, just awesome day.
All right, congratulations. Clint Bowyer adds another win at Dover to his racing resume.
And the 55th for Richard Childress Racing as gets the kiss. And we're going to take a quick break as we're going to check in on a few of these other drivers. It was an eventful day at Dover. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series will be at Dover here at the Monster Mile, presented by Burger King, and you can see it all tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ABC. And for drag racing fans, we got a lot of action for you. The O'Reilly Superstar Batteries NHRA Fall Nationals from Texas in the Motorplex. Qualifying's at 12:15 late tonight, and the race at 7 Eastern tomorrow, both shows on ESPN2. And then all you have to remember about NASCAR now is 1, it's presented by 5 Hour Energy. And then just remember 10 a.m., 10 p.m., and ESPN2 is the location. Well, the celebration continues back down in Victory Lane, but let's talk to the points leader. A 211-point margin for Kyle Busch, who comes home today in 4th. Jamie?
Well, it was an eventful day, especially to start off. Kyle, how much did the radio communication hinder your ultimate performance?
Probably a little bit. You know, unfortunate. Great car in the beginning. You know, the NOS Energy Drink Camry was fast, but you know, we might have started off a little bit tighter than everybody else. But the more the race went on, the looser we got for some reason. And the guys made adjustments in order to tighten it up, and
I don't know if it was just the tires or what, but every time we put a set of tires on, we kept getting looser and looser. So it's not accustomed to what we're used to. But, we gave it all we had today. Jason did a good job with what he had for information. And, we ended up fourth, but, we were only one spot ahead of Carl. So it's very frustrating when you run that hard and run that good, and then you ended up only making up 5 points or 4 points, whatever it is.
Well, Jason dug deep and he found a backup to a backup channel. How long before you were able to have communication?
It was probably 30 laps into the race, and then it still wasn't great. He could barely hear me, so it was all just static. But fortunately, we had something, so he could hear about every other word.
Well, he finished fourth, and he did gain points on this 60.
And as you mentioned the points, let's take a look at the championship chase, because Kyle has a total of 4,549, 211 as we mentioned ahead of Carl, and Brad Keselowski still at 297. But notice that battle for fifth. Stephen Wallace, Justin Allgaier, they have switched spots. Only the top 5 make it to the stage at Miami right at this season's end. Now for Brad Keselowski, who came home third today, it was an eventful late race deal with Denny Hamlin. Take another look.
Yeah, you definitely see contact to the back bumper of Denny Hamlin. Ruins Denny's day.
Hello, come on. Come on.
Now, what happened after the race was right down on pit road. You can see Denny right there at the top right of your screen. He came out and wanted to have a discussion, and we'll have more on all of this when we come back here to the Dover International Speedway. Stay with us. Between Brad Keselowski's team and the 20 of Denny Hamlin. This is one of the reasons why, guys. This is May of last year.
Yeah, it's not the first time these two drivers have been together on the racetrack. And right here, another little fisticuff broke out at Charlotte after that.
Now, late in this race, this is what happened as the laps were closing down. The contact, Denny ends up into the wall.
Yeah, Brad thought he had to run and enough room on the inside, but Denny was just driving his car back as they were trying to go around the lap car. And then after the race, Denny Hamlin comes to pit road.
Just a few moments ago, and now let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, a little reminiscing there, Brad, and you watched it too. So first of all, I want to know what happened between you guys on the track, and was it your fault or his fault, and then what happened afterwards?
Well, I got to congratulate Clint first. Great guy, deserves to win. Happy to see him in victory lane, so congratulations to him. But we had a great go at Comp Chevrolet. I made mistakes early in the race, got us behind, and the car was just good enough to drive back up there. And we got up behind Denny. I think it was maybe 10 to go or 25 to go. I just couldn't get by him. He had a good car as well, and just had an opportunity. He left a hole to pass him, and at this level, it's different than other levels because we have spotters, and I know for sure, my guys already told me that his spotter told me I was down there, and he just tried to take advantage of me. And I'm not going to be pushed around. So he tried to take advantage of me, and I had to make a decision of whether to let him or not. And the rest is history. But that's the way it goes sometimes. The same thing could have happened when he tried to get by me, but I gave him the spot and knew he was there, and he just didn't extend the same courtesy.
Did that surprise you, seeing him and his posse kind of down there and talking to you guys?
I don't know. I don't really put too much into that, but I can understand being upset. His team works hard on their race cars just like mine, and I don't like to see anybody's race car get tore up like his did. That's a tough weekend for his team, but it's he had a choice. He could have gave me a lane and finished fourth or fifth or whatever it was, but he tried to take advantage of me. He had the choice, and he knew I was there.
That was the incident. Let's talk about what you did today, though. You had an incident on pit road, as you mentioned. You missed pit road. Then you guys had a speeding penalty, went a lap down, and you still fought back. If you had a couple more laps, did you have a good enough car to get this win?
Yeah, I think about 20 laps or so, I could have caught up to Clint and gave him a run for the money. I don't know if I could have got by him. I needed about, 2 or 3 more laps to get by Mike, who's, great run for him. I'm happy for Mike. He's a good friend of mine. And so we had a strong enough car, just didn't have enough laps to get up there and show what we had with Clint. But he deserves a win, too. So
nice job today, Brad. Brad Keselowski comes home third. And let's go over to Vince Welch, who's with Denny Hamlin.
Well, let's get the other side of the story there with Denny now, and your reaction to what happened out there on the racetrack.
Hey, it's more a reaction to him. I was just sitting in the motorhome when y'all came up listening to that idiot talk. He has no idea how to race. He thinks he's in there if he drives in 20 car lengths deeper to get his nose in there. He's not. He never had position on me whatsoever. He had just got to me, so he never even made an attempt to pass us clean. But, that's why, he'll get a ride and he'll hang around for a couple of years and people will realize that he's not really that good.
Were you getting communication on the radio from your spotter that he was there?
Yeah, they said he was looking inside, and of course I had position. I was trying to get to the 18, and he just drove in there extremely hard just to get his nose in there. But he just took the first opportunity that he had to get to us, and just showed no patience. But that's Brad.
What were you going to say if you would have gotten to him once you got out of the car on pit lane, or when you got to him there on pit lane? What did you say?
Well, I wanted to talk to him, and he obviously needs some kind of guidance on what he needs to do to make it. And he's got a ton of talent. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's a good driver, and if he can harness it, he'll win a lot more races. But he just at the Cup level, he'll realize it. A lot of it is he doesn't have a lot of Cup experience, which that's okay. He's getting there. But once he starts to get out there on Sunday and see how to race, he'll realize that in his younger years, he didn't do it the right way.
Appreciate you coming out in the rain. Yep. Denny Hamlin. Thanks, Denny. Guys?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be having a beer together tonight chatting about this, and it'll be interesting if they do sit down and talk about it somewhere down the road. Let's get your guys' take on this. I mean, as a driver, you've been there on both sides of this coin, Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, and there's always two sides to every story, and it looks different. And I promise you, it looked different from Brad Keselowski's seat inside the race car than what we're seeing here. Because, quite honestly, if you had to look at just the TV, you had said that Brad Keselowski was in the wrong there. He just drove into Denny Hamlin. And that's probably is exactly what it was. But when you're in the car, you think that you've got a little bit of an opening, and you try to take advantage of that situation.
Well, let's get some thoughts from another driver down there. Rusty, I know you and Alan, everybody, let's check in with you guys.
What are you thinking when you have a problem with a guy?
Well, I mean, when I'm having a problem with a guy, I got a problem with the guy. But this particular instance was very late in the race. There's a lot of tension. These guys are all jacked up. They're trying to get the job done, get all the positions they possibly could. It looked like there was a little bit of an opening there. He went for it. But, you can't wreck a guy. And that's a tough call right there because there was a lane. Denny was coming down a little. They both got together. But I'm going to blame the whole thing just on a high tensions and running out of time and getting late in the race. A hard racing deal right there.
Yeah, and I think if there wasn't a little bit of a previous history between these two, it wouldn't be as big. But it looked like Brad stuck his nose in there pretty aggressively, and Denny came down, and Brad didn't want to give him the spot. Just that simple. That's racing. That's the way it is. But he has to realize on the other end, when Denny does that to him, that turnabout's fair play. Yeah, but it is good hard racing.
I wish they would have let Denny and Brad just talk, but those crew guys jumped in there and shoved them apart. I wish they would have just talked and had a little conversation and worked it out.
And the one thing that I was thinking and listening to your comments and DJ and Andy's as well was the fact that, sometimes there's just a guy. Doesn't matter who it is. For you, it was Michael Jordan. That just irritates you, that just always causes, gets under your skin.
Sure.
And in this case, Brad and Denny seem to have that irritation factor about each other on the racetrack. Today didn't lessen that any. By the way, Clint Boyer won the race.
Oh, there is that.
He's got the trophy.
Great race today for Clint Boyer.
The rain held off until the checkered flag waved. Now it's raining here in Dover, but we got this one in today, which leaves 7 events in the NASCAR Nationwide Series season. Those are the speedways at which this circuit will race in the upcoming weeks. If you'd like to join us, go to NASCAR.com/tickets and check it out. Kansas next week should be a fun one. That is next Saturday. Carl Edwards still chasing a championship. Dave, he fell back a little bit at the finish today.
And Carl Edwards comes home 5th today in a race where it looked like for a while you had something for him up at the front, Carl, but where was your car at the end of this race?
We were 5th. We had the Scott's Wild Bird Food paint scheme, which has been a winner every time for us, so I was hoping we'd get a good finish out of that. I mean, 5th isn't a disaster, but we came here to run better than that, and we didn't close any points on Kyle, and he had a little bit of an off day, so the trick would have been to pit when the 88 pitted, but with the rain coming down, because of points, we couldn't take that gamble. But a good solid day, but we just got to work on our cars a little more. We took a little step this weekend. That's progress.
And what step do you think you made handling-wise?
Well, we worked on some different things. It was very, very fast in practice. We didn't get enough chances to adjust on it, but I think if we would have had one more pit stop, could have been a little more competitive and maybe competed for the win. So at least there's promise there, and we've got some races left that are good for us.
All right, another top 5 for Carl today.
And that obviously a moment ago, just before the skies opened up and it started raining. Also talked with sixth place Jason Leffler a moment ago. Shannon?
Sixth place finish for Jason Leffler today after some really tough weeks for this team. 3 weekends in a row, 20 at their worst. Just how badly did you guys need this finish here today?
Well, we needed it bad. I mean, we just need to get back on track. And we've had, like you just mentioned, a rough 3 weeks with the Great Clips Camry. And this is a great day for us. Another top 10. We ran really well. And Scott and all the guys are doing a great job. You know, we got a lot going on at Braun with the move to the new shop, and they're doing a great job keeping up with everything. So, got to thank all the guys. Got to thank Great Clips, everybody in Minnesota right now that at the national convention, and we're trying to make it. I don't know if we're going to make it or not, but got to thank them for all their support. And it was a great day for us. It's where we need to be. You know, and we can work on it from here and try to get some wins.
What was the biggest difference this weekend that you guys haven't had the past 3 weeks?
Well, I mean, we've had some bad luck, and then we went to Atlanta. We just ran bad. It was our worst race all year long. Last week Richmond, we got in a skirmish with Stephen Wallace, and it ended our day. It was just just some bad luck and not being in the wrong place at the right time. So we were able to get around all that today and had a great day.
Great run for the 38 here. It's over.
Mike Bliss with a great day for the CJM Racing Bunch in that 11 car. Mike, at the end of the day, I heard you say on the radio, hey, it's going to get tight, but it really was still pretty fast. Did you think maybe with one more caution or something, a chance at the win?
We were pretty tight there. That last run when we had 5 to go, I was very tight. I just held on to the bottom. But, I knew Brad was behind me, and I just held the bottom. But, I'm excited. This number 11 CJM Ridemakers.com Camry Toyota was real good. Off the trailer, it was good. I was just excited that I got a chance to drive it.
So you got any plans for next year? Because Brian and Tony Mullett, as far as I know, don't have a driver signed yet.
I don't have plans for I have plans for Kansas, but after that I have no. I'm trying to finish top 10 in points, and I'm trying to grab anything I can. And this was a car that I would have loved to have driven all year, but we just never could put it together. So finally had a chance, and it was great. I really thank those guys for letting me drive.
Now, Mike Bliss, we know he can drive. He was in a really great car today, guys, and almost pulled it off.
And comes away from this race, David, 8th in the Nationwide Series driver standings, again with those 7 races to go. A nice second-place run for Mike Bliss. So as the rain begins to fall and the teams begin packing up their equipment, there's one more critical step that has to happen for the race winner. He's got to pass Tech. For more on that, let's go to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer. Tim?
Thanks, Alan. One of the teams go through the process of going back through the post-race inspection. First thing they do, they go to the gas pumps, fill the car up with fuel, because they have to meet minimum weight requirements. Another thing they do, they actually check a few height measurements on the car. The front air dam, making sure that it's high enough. The roof, it's got a minimum roof height of heat to. But there again, it comes back to the quarter panel heights. You got a minimum of 36 inches on the quarter panel heights. On the right side, 35 over on the other side. And as the crew chief makes the adjustments throughout the race, it doesn't matter what you come back at, but you have to keep those minimum height requirements. Another thing they're going to want to do, and this sets in the engine compartment, but they're going to take the air cleaner off, take the carburetor off, and the tapered plate. That belongs to NASCAR. You can practice with your plate, but when it comes time to qualify or race, you're going to put NASCAR's plate on there, and they're going to want this back as soon as the race is over with.
Hey, Brewer, when you're the crew chief and you've got that winning car at inspection, what's the best feeling in the world?
Well, back then that was sponsored by the Budweiser team. So after we got through with the process, we'd go out and have a cold adult beverage or two, and that was the best part. But celebration and
passing Tech is the best part.
Right where I was going with this, when that top official, in this case in the Nationwide Series, Joe Balish, reaches out with that hand.
No,
it says
You
congratulations.
don't think they would reprimand me? No, it's always congratulations. But when it really came at a great moment, that's when Bill France Jr. get up off the workbench and tell Dick Beatty, well, I guess you're going to have to take that rule out of the rule book because that doesn't apply to Brewer.
Oh, gee, okay.
I kind of like the beer answer, though. That was pretty good.
That was always a good one.
It is. The last moment of inspection, when you know Tech is over, is when the series technical director reaches his hand out and shakes the hand of the winning crew chief, says, congratulations, the win's yours.
That's what you want.
There you go. Inspection continuing. We're coming back to wrap it up at Dover.